200-pound person like me would then weigh 2,400 pounds in that cockpit. The opposite of that are the negative G's trying to throw him out of it. The smoke exploding in the sky, showcasing to us just a preview of why he's one of the most to be reckoned with pilots on the air show business today. It's Kevin Coleman.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, opening the show with the Red Bull Air Force and the national
Joining
anthem.
Kevin Coleman on the
Sponsored by
stage
Step
right now,
One
that
Automotive.
of Aaron Fitzgerald in the BO-105 helicopter. He's one of a few anywhere in the world authorized to do maneuvers just like this one and fly upside down. We're going to watch as he pivots off to our right-hand side and works his way back to the center of our aerobatic box. To our left, Kevin Coleman, flying this extra 300 SHP in all three dimensions, an aircraft designed in Germany for exactly what we're seeing right now. They are tearing it up for us here today. What do you think of the Red Bull Air Force, everybody? And we are just getting started. The extra 330 SC, constructed mostly of carbon fiber and other strong materials. It weighs in less than a small car. Kevin has over 350 horsepower at his command, courtesy of a Lycoming AEIO 540 Thunderbolt engine. And if you do the math, it gives him a thrust-to-weight ratio of nearly 1-to-1. We're going to watch him now from the left at over 220 miles an hour as he reaches the center of our air show airspace. He'll pop right over top of the pier and work his way off to air show right as he works his way around our show right vessel out there and gives you another great look at this beautiful and very capable German-built superplane, the Extra 300. Kevin Coleman has flown competition aerobatics, air racing, and air show performance at the highest level, and he has done so across multiple countries on multiple continents. Based in Louisiana, he's accumulated thousands of hours of flight time and has performed air shows from California to the United Kingdom. He wants to say thanks to Tubro Aviation, Hartzell Propeller, Tempest Aero, Belly Aero, CJ Aviation, and of course to Red Bull, his sponsors for the 2026 air show season. We want to extend a very big thank you to the Red Bull Air Force in helping to formally open our show today, as well as our helicopter pilot, Aaron Fitzgerald, and of course to Kevin Coleman and our jumpers. How about it, America? Let's put our hands together and hear it all the way up and down the line for the Red Bull Air Force. Yes,
Okay. You ready to go to?
Ready to go to them.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
We'll count them down. Give me a second. Ready?
What do you want? 3?
That's 5,
Uh,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Can't hear it. I can't hear them through the AV.
To grow the team as the main staff of the Angels for the 20 to 2022 seasons. I want to work with you at the Flightline. Yeah, it was a lot of fun out there. So as everybody's dialing, both maybe here in Pensacola or from afar, we got a great
Aware of it now,
for
so
kicked off.
not coming through the AV.
There's flying upside down already. Airplanes buzzing the beach. We got sky jumpers bringing the flag down. Ray Jorgensen, who might be on later, singing the national anthem, but kicked off by the Red Bull Air Force. And now we're waiting for. Next up is Shannon Elliott flying an SNJ5. We're going to see that'll be followed by T6 Texans 2s. Stephanie Getz in a L39.
On
Frank
my computer.
course
You can't hear it.
US Air Force F-35s that are coming down, and some Sound of Freedom. Some working by Stefan Trishuk. And followed Jay Greer is the captain. We got all of the at the front. It's the father-son team. Austin Wright. Got a 3 Titan team, AT6 Texans going to give a show. Some S2 twos. The Red Force comes back. It's coming. Just expect and followed by a quick water break. Boys and gals and boys come back and grace the sky. Absolutely, especially for the 80th anniversary. It's beautiful weather out here today on the beach. Cannot be more excited for this. It's beautiful, and we to the flight briefer. Supposed to be
No, none of this.
So,
This
for those on the
coming
beach,
from
if you're listening in and you're coming down here, make sure you bring stay some sunscreen. But the sun is out, the beach is welcoming, and that's gone in and putting this on by everybody here in Santa Rosa County, Escambia County, Pensacola. Experience a beach air show from a seat, maybe have it in that being at the beach, but think of when you think of the Pensacola Beach Air Show. It's the hometown crowd. It's amazing. That they bring you, it's fantastic. Just starts on Wednesday morning with breakfast with the Blues. It goes through Saturday. It's just a fantastic event that everyone should get one chance to enjoy. Put on your nose, enjoy. Pensacola, get if you don't Pensacola, take a trip to Louisville if you're right. Yeah, so Shannon Sanjay Fowles entered.
This isn't going to.
Checking in. It's fine. Sanjay Fowles.
I don't understand what is
It's a military training
I don't know. It was working
for
before.
pilots
Coming,
during and after too. So
This is
it's coming in
going
from
to
the
the
left,
daytime.
kicking some smoke out,
I'm getting
showing some
signals
maneuvers that
here.
are left.
So there's audio. I just got to figure out what's the problem. But
Texans were built between
I need to
1930
make sure that the
1955.
cameras
and trim pipes for
audio as well.
trees and a span of 25 years.
Cameras audio what? So we're getting noise because they're not getting the airport.
Absolutely seeing these old
Camera
bridges from
audio needs to
see what they
be
do and bring them back and
internal,
still
and they ought to be
do
able to
something
see
to showcase for the public.
gear.
It's just, especially hearing that roll, just horsepower. I love jets, I love the sound that they make, but when you just have the show pop, it's just nothing beats that sound.
Yeah.
It's cool. The speed, the sound, but there's something about it. Percentage and any fluctuations in the engine. Yeah, no, it's pretty. Unfortunately, it's not here this year. Yeah, they so Fat Albert is a yeah. So Fat Albert Actual getting some rework done over in England at a plant there, but they do have a C-130 that the Blue Angels use that aircraft to move personnel and maintenance tools, etc., from airshow site to airshow site, right?
Yeah, got to have a Fat Albert Ernie. There's no way the show and no way the team can move and do what they need to do. And that bird crew can go at a moment's notice, pick up an engine or a gasket. They'll do whatever you need. So that's great to have, but gotta love those good turboprop engines.
Yep. Shannon's having some fun out there in the SNJ-5 nickname because we talked about a trainer aircraft, the pilot maker. And that nickname came obviously when it was built in 38. It became the primary trainer for World War II and the amount of pilots that were being produced for World War II before they moved on to their fighters and bombers.
What'd you get your start on when you started flying?
I started flying the T-34 was the first aircraft, so propeller driven trainer. Similar, listening to the air boss in to hear what's going on with Shannon there. He's getting ready to depart, and then we got some T6s came in. But as you listen to some of these old airplanes, especially that SNJ, that unique sound we were kind of talking about, the propeller, a lot of times that comes through the buzzing growl because the propeller tips kind of hit transonic speed. So you get that extra little sound coming off the propeller.
And now we got the T6 Texan out there now for the trainers.
Yep.
The new variant.
New variant. So 4 Air Force T6 Texans in terms of aircraft I flew when I finished my time at NAS Pensacola. Got to fly quite often in a T6 Texan. And that neat airplane, very, very forgiving, also used for a trainer. So Air Force and Navy pilot, naval flight officer, weapons system officers, all train, initial training at a minimum in the T6 Texan. Very forgiving airplane to learn in. Great avionics systems. That aircraft, phenomenal from your world to maintenance world. Very, very easily kept up.
It's a great aircraft between that and all the other trainers we got. Yep. All the other props.
Yeah, so we got 4 T6s. Here they come from the left, painted blue, and they are from the 80th Flying Training Wing from Shepherd Air Force Base. So they're our guests here in Pensacola for the weekend here. And we're another aspect of the day is kind of seeing that stepping stone of here's some aviators in flight training showing the formation flying that pilots learn in flight training, all the way up to this afternoon seeing some precision formation flight training by the Blue Angels.
I love the new paint scheme that the Navy came up with for all their T6 is kind of a throwback, the dark blue aircraft.
Yep, the traditionally Navy's been an orange and white aircraft for a trainer, and all the T6 is moving to an all blue kind of tip of the cap of World War II era, all blue aircraft, and they're jet trainers, tip of the cap to the modern naval fleet out there, all gray. And here come the T6s kind of straight on from the end of the pier. Yeah, oh, yeah, no. So it had the back-to-back with what Shannon Elliott was just flying, the SNJ-5, also known World War II era was the AT-6. So can get confusing of hearing T-6 Texan, because back to the comment about historic aircraft, there are historic T-6 Texans, which we saw Shannon Elliott flying, and now these T-6 Texans, which are a modern day trainer.
That's what I did after I left the Blue Angels, I was helped with the maintenance on the T6 Texans at Corpus Christi. So it's great to see how them getting the wings, getting the naval aviators, and their first time and watching to see everyone getting winged and all the families coming out.
I was gonna say that had to be how much did you track as a maintainer? I'm sure you did of when you were manning up or catching is what we call it when you caught the aircraft when it returned from its flight and you knew that student naval aviator was their flight to get their wings. What was that from your world?
You just know how nervous they are. They've done so much preparation and getting ready to go, but it's still that's that check ride. That's that last thing that they need to get their wings and the nerves they have. So just knowing that when they walk out, say, "Sir, we gave you a good aircraft. Trust it. We did everything we need you to do. So just bring it back in one piece." That's all we care about. You can fix it. That's your job. You go out, fly it, break it. We'll fix it. That's what naval aviation's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
Looks like they're checking out now, and
T6 is checking out. Yeah, the T6 as they head off to the east had replaced a T-37 Tweet, and in our case in the Navy, when I mentioned I flew the T-34, T6 has replaced a T-34.
it's important. They're always in that constant communication with the Air Boss too, because Air Boss owns everything within this whole radius of the aircraft where they lock everything down, called a TFR for temporary flight restriction. So we can make sure everybody's safe when they're flying. But he runs the air show until the Blue Angels take over. Then
That's right.
then it gets turned over to Tom Cart and Mo.
Yeah. Mo being the maintenance officer, but yeah, when the Blue Angels, that's kind of neat where the Blue Angels actually control that air show box where currently, like you were saying, in motion up there, he's up there on the lift. The Air Boss is up there running the current air show box.
One thing that's cool I found out recently, now every maintenance officer and aviation maintenance officer, they actually get qualified as an air boss. Now.
Ah,
I
that's
thought
neat.
that's smart too. It keeps everybody there.
Do you know how long ago that started?
It's just a couple years ago
Couple
because
years.
it wasn't when I was on the team. I think it was maybe when Greg and Nat took over.
Oh, okay.
But again, it's just the way that goes to show how everyone's always improving and looking for ways to make it better. So just having that extra layer, because when I took over, I didn't really understand it. I got thrown into the fire. What
Yeah.
is going to be it? I was a pink jet.
All right, here's a little jet noise for everybody. The Pink Jet, flown by, met her this morning, special person, Stephanie Getz, from Red Wing, Minnesota. And she got her start, spent nearly a decade doing broadcasting, news and sports anchor for NBC, CBS, ABC affiliates. And then she got the taste of flight, loved it, has worked herself up through a commercial jet pilot license. And now she is the president and pilot of the Pink Jet, which is a nonprofit and painted pink to raise awareness for breast cancer. So she goes nationwide to do high energy aviation demonstrations and community outreach, raising awareness for breast cancer.
That's important. How fun is it just to be able to rage around the beach here in Pensacola in a pink jet smoke?
Yeah, I'm doing some entrepreneurial stuff. And yeah, for a nonprofit LLC, I would say you're doing pretty well if your nonprofit includes a jet that you get to fly.
I would say so.
She's flying an L-39 Albatross. It's a Czechoslovakia-made designed military jet trainer. And it became the standard jet trainer across nearly the entire Warsaw Pact during the Cold War. Around just shy of 3,000 were built and used by 30 air forces worldwide. I don't know if she'll get up there. Top speed, apparently, the L-39 is around 465 miles per hour. Listen here, I'll hold the mic. We got the Air Boss frequency up. So as Stephanie is cruising around here, and when the Air Boss gives her a call to check out, we'll listen in on them talking.
When we were filming the Belangelo show for the IMAX documentary, Kevin LaRosa, he flew the L-39, and some of those shots that you see that aren't with the jets on that, he got some of those good aerial shots from there.
By chance, same individual that did some work with Top Gun Maverick?
He did.
Yep.
Top Gun Maverick. Yep. Same. It's amazing what they were able to put together.
Yeah, going HD cameras and the technology available to capture things and the talent of people like him in the air to be able to do footage like that is neat because it brings that more and more to people's living rooms or on the screen, and they can appreciate what is done by our military or performers like this, right? And get a taste of it.
Absolutely. We actually use the Top Gun cameras for our IMAX documentary. They
Yeah,
came to us
okay.
and said, "Don't break them." We broke them, but I think it was all worth it. It worked out well.
Yeah, some people, when they see an airplane like the L-39, I had the same in the Growler. When you have something unique or on the wingtip, an old trainer, a T2 Buckeye, same thing. A lot of times people see that and what is that? And on the L-39, the plane Stephanie's flying, those are fuel tanks. T2 Buckeye, similar. Those were fuel tanks. So having fuel out there on the wingtips.
So like you're flying the Growler, you had the pods.
The pods out on the Growler were receiver pods. Growler airplane listens for and then can electronically jam enemy radars. So the wingtip pods were to receive signals.
I still know one of my favorite things to do when the EA6B was there on the cat, go stand up next to the EA6B.
And real quick, there's Stephanie talking to the Air Boss as she's about to do one more pass and check out. Yeah, the Prowler.
Yeah.
That would shake your ribs on a catapult launch, wouldn't it?
Oh, I love that. I can imagine what you felt like in the actual aircraft itself.
Surprisingly, not as much as if you were on the flight deck. It got loud, but it wasn't as bone rattling as if you were outside on the flight deck getting ready for a launch.
So she's popping a little more smoke before she gets out of here.
Looks like we're seeing a shot there of the Air Boss up on the lift. So that's the Air Boss. And as Brian said earlier, that individual currently is the person in charge of the TFR or the demonstration box. So it's up to the Air Boss to clear people into the box, clear them to exit the box. So he is managing the flow as well as maintaining the safety of watching the air show. And Pensacola has done a phenomenal job. The Santa Rosa Authority and everyone else have, in the advertisement is here, of ensuring people know that no drones, no kites in the local area. And it would be up to the Air Boss if there was a report. The Air Boss would, hey, we're shutting down the air show until this gets, this situation gets remedied. So the Air Boss overall responsibility for managing that.
Yeah. And even if there's a lifeline, we've been in instances where you're not on the beach, but you're in a city and you're surrounded by hospitals, and make sure the Air Boss clears everybody in and make sure that everybody gets through safely. It's a big responsibility.
Yep. That was neat seeing Stephanie fly that, and special tip of the cap goes out to her for doing what she does to raise awareness for the fight against breast cancer and all those that can affect and families. So way to go, Stephanie. That was neat with the pink jet. Off she goes.
Who do we have up next?
Now we're going to be waiting for one of my favorite aircraft of all time, Frank Kimmel, flying the F4U-5 Corsair.
I love a Corsair.
He gets a treat. Apparently, there's some aviation enthusiasts might know this better than I, but when I was doing some research, 24 roughly are the airworthy examples remaining of the Corsair, which is a World War II and Korea fighter.
Wow.
And here's the boss talking to Frank. Sounds like the first couple events went a little bit quicker than scheduled. Loved slow flying in a advanced aircraft like the Growler, Super Hornet, F-35, because when you're flying super slow, you really see that computer taking over. So I offer, as people watch the F-35, if they do a slow pass, or later on when the Blue Angels come by and do the high alpha pass to two soloists side by side, flying super slow, look especially at the tail, because those pilots they have their flight controls locked saying, I want to hold this angle of attack. And you just see those control surfaces moving because the airplane's saying, hey, to maintain this, this is what I need to do with the aircraft. It's pretty neat what those engineering milestones have been achieved and allow us to do in an aircraft like that.
Absolutely. Especially the High Alpha Pass. They're slowing down. You have a huge 40,000-pound plane that you keep it in the air, flying at 120 miles an hour, just kind of crawling along at a very high angle of attack. That's not something that's supposed to be done, but they do it very,
They do
very
it,
well.
right?
Lots and lots of practice out in the desert for sure.
Yep.
I wish people could see from the aerial view how packed the beach is today, and out in the Sabine, all the boats out here, everybody out here again supporting the local community and the air show that Santa Rosa's put on. It is fantastic.
Yeah, they were saying nibbling at close to exceeding 100,000 a day.
Oh,
Tomorrow, I don't know, 1.5, double that maybe out here. So as they say, get here early. If you want a parking spot close by, or just be happy to walk, or bring your boat out. I know as you're watching the show on the screen, you'll see the boats out there on the far side of the air show box, which is a neat thing about a water show in Pensacola is, and I'm sure as a former Blue Angel, with the knowledge, you probably get asked quite often to come be a guest on someone's boat, and they're like, Brian, just come out and let the other guests know what's going on, right?
it's a fun job, but someone's got to do it. I think it also helps that we got voted the best beach in America too. So we can keep that little gem, that little secrets out, unfortunately, but unfortunately for us.
Yeah, it's a treat to have an air show here at Pensacola Beach. It really is. So I think we might be working through a lot of our technical difficulties and back up. So take a moment and big shout out to all our friends that are watching in the maybe a little bit more relatively cool confines and enjoyment at our Naval Aviation Museum on Naval Air Station Pensacola. So great to have that audience in. I think they're throwing us up on the big screen there so people can enjoy the air show if they're not able to make it out here to the beach. So if we're back up now on and you see the screen again, you haven't really missed much when we Starlink or whatever. We'll have to give a call to our friends at Space Force and figure out what happened. But we're back up with the video streaming, waiting the F-35s to show up and start their demonstration.
I think they might be checking in here soon. I hear they're working.
As a tip of the cap to the African-American military pilots of World War II, the Tuskegee Airmen. They are known as the Red Tails, so they're carrying forth that legacy. Tuskegee Airmen, famously in World War II, flew Red Tails on their P-51 Mustang fighters in World War II. So the 100th is carrying on that legacy. You ever do any work on the F-35?
Nope. I was F-18s my whole entire
F-18?
career
Okay.
until I went to my last year with the T-6 Texans and the 44s, the other training squadron there. So here they are.
A little sound of freedom. Here we go.
Here comes Frank Kimmel and his F4U5 Corsair, sponsored by Blue Wind.
Oh, and they upped it by 2. Not just a section. We got 4 F-35s here. So they came over the crowd, flying away now and looking like they're doing a break. So coming individuals, I would anticipate for a little nice pass to let us all hear and feel some of that single Pratt Whitney F-35, the F-135 in the F-35 engine, which can get that aircraft up to speeds around 1.6 Mach, which is around 1,200 miles an hour.
It's this chilling avionics gives the pilot 360-degree coverage on the top of the screen he or she can see through the aircraft. The helmet alone
Waiting for the F-35s to come by. 3 variants made. One for the Marine Corps, one for the Navy, one for the Air Force. The Marine Corps variant is able to do vertical takeoff and landings. And then the Navy and Air Force variant. That's an awesome sound. I like that, right? Here we go. Now it's an air show, as they would say.
I miss that sound so much.
Yeah, the Navy and Air Force variant. Very similar look until you get them right side by side. Air Force variant, a little bit bigger. Some of that is the weight of the Navy variant having to go into the landing gear and the landing and take off from an aircraft carrier configuration of extra equipment like a tail hook and everything else. So Air Force variant, a little bit bigger than the Navy, but those are not able to do a vertical takeoff and landing. F-35, a stealth aircraft, so designed specifically to be able to get into a radar contested environment, but to get in without radars being able to see it, do its mission, and then get home. Very technologically advanced. And I know a lot of people talk. They F-35. Brent Lane from Country swinging on by. How are you? How are you, sir? Good to see you.
I can tell you right now, this is
Love it. All it needs to be said. Sound of freedom, sound of freedom. There's Brent Lane from Crack Country. Great seeing you, Brent. Yeah, a lot of people talk too. One neat thing about the F-35 is the helmet, which is really an integrated part of the weapon system of that airplane. That the helmet that the pilot can wear by moving their head and looking at things, slews sensors, slews weapon systems, and just another, again, a phenomenal piece of technological upgrade that we get to fight with in today's world.
Our thanks goes to the Alabama International Guard.
Yeah, as they head back to Alabama, big shout out and thanks to the Alabama National Guard for coming down and showing us some F-35s and a treat with 4 aircraft. And what did they end up doing? About 4 passes.
So we're passing some nice loud sounds over the beach.
Nice loud sounds. Maybe it's jet noise, which beats down the sand and turns it into that fine white sand that we get to enjoy. Maybe it's the reverb off the jet engines.
We get it every once in a while.
And trying to listen in to Bandit, who's our air boss, talk to Third Strike, which are the wing walkers, the next Carol Pillon, who's a wing walker. Just letting them know the F-35s have cleared, and they're cleared in the box. And I'm listening in to see if we can hear them call back. Carol's originally from Quebec, Canada, and she is the first and only Canadian wing walking. And kind of a,
How you just wake up one day and decide, you know what?
like, what do I want to do?
I wanted to walk on a wing on an aircraft just because. I mean, that's something that you don't do on a normal daily basis.
People will notice this airplane, famous in Pensacola, because we have a vintage Stearman flying group, the Veterans Flights, that do a lot of flying around Pensacola. And they were here earlier over the beach, and they're doing a real special flight tomorrow during the air show. Won't happen today, but tomorrow, but flying Stearmans. And that's the type of aircraft Carol flies. So the aircraft biplane, so 2 wings, one over the other, will be coming in. Then we'll see someone getting out on top of it and walking back and forth.
The one we'll see next has been modified with an injected inverted fuel and oil system, a bigger engine. And it was after World War II that many of these super Stearmans went on to be agricultural applicators or crop dusters. And they also became excellent air show platforms. They are very much at home, both right side up and right side down. At this time, the pilot, Stefan Trischuk, will be working his way inbound.
I was an instructor for a while.
And as I mentioned to you, Carol Pilon is the owner of the biplane we're about to see, and she will not be flying in it. She will be flying on it. Stefan is the pilot.
His term in
Borrowing her airplane,
an air
Carol can do what she enjoys.
probably the most
Wing walk.
daring and courageous thing is wing walk.
You'll ask her, is it the Rick? Is it the Ricks? Is it the side? She'll say, nope.
Between
This is
that
the
and
Red-
what the
She'll say, "No."
people like the Red Bulls and like Michael and what he does with his aircraft,
Says it's free.
and
And
they're
we're going to get the chance
up there
to see her demonstrate
think
this for us.
sometimes force of gravity, just with little planes. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
It's an amazing family community with this air show,
Yeah.
the circuit that they travel on. Everyone gets to experience it. Everyone's a very, very tight knit group. So everyone loves to celebrate everybody's wins and successes here.
That's right. Yeah, and you think of that, like that precision and everything. To imagine standing on a wing, and so kind of feeling the maneuvers of the airplane and though a Stearman, not heavy G loading like an F-18 or an F-35, but you're still maneuvering, going upside down and pulling G, and being able to feel that come up through your feet so that you're ready for a turn and standing there. So heard Carol check in, and
It's definitely, it's one thing to be sitting down and feeling 5 or 6 Gs, but another thing to be actually standing on the outside of an aircraft to feel that. That's something that I don't think a lot of people are ever going to experience in their lifetime.
nope. Yeah, and as we're waiting for Carol and her Stearman to show up, mention it tomorrow. Yeah, so real neat for Pensacola, and I know some of the Tailhook Association was fighting for a long time, but tomorrow the Stearman flight, they're gonna, part of that is honoring a group of veterans that are all at 100 or 100 years older, to include Navy Captain Royce Williams, who just got a Medal of Honor awarded to him. And that is from a flight back in the Korean conflict that was classified. And the Tailhook Association was doing a lot of work to get it unclassified. He had gotten an acknowledgement, and if I remember correctly, a Navy Cross from that event. But then when it got declassified and people heard that story where he and his flight engaged 7 MiGs, he got separated, and it essentially was a 1-on-6 flight where he came out victorious, and that got declassified, and he got a Medal of Honor recently awarded to him, and he'll get a fly tomorrow in the Stearman, and they're going to do a tribute to them in the air show. So if you get a chance tomorrow to dial in and or be here to see that, what a special, special moment.
Here she is.
And there's Carol. Yeah, Carol is currently performing some acrobatics there on the top of the wing. Hundreds to thousands of feet off the ground while the pilot's maneuvering the aircraft through tight turns and climbs.
Oh, no, I'm lost. Like my fluffy sir.
I don't think there's enough money in the world you pay me to do that. I'm glad somebody's willing to do it.
That might be one of those things where I'd say yes, and then I'd be getting up or standing on top of the wing saying, wait a second, what did I just sign up to do?
And then communicate via that hand gesture to because there's hurricane force winds up there. Let's watch now from the left as they trade it out to the players. Great stuff indeed. Let's put our hands together and make some noise for Carol. I'm in the same boat. Carol has experience for two wing walking, formation wing walks, nighttime pyro wing walking.
Yeah, it's, a real neat thing about that Stearman, that age of that airplane, but they have, good handful still flying. And the fact that a Stearman's out here doing maneuvers like that, allowing for wing walking and for people to see and appreciate the joys of flight and what humans can do with that. That's pretty neat that aircraft has had the legs of age that it does. And you think of people like Neil Armstrong, Alan Shepard, young George H.W. Bush, right? All having soloed in a Stearman before they touched the fighter plane.
I'm sure not one of them said, I should probably step out and let me defend the thing to do this.
Yeah. Carol's like, yeah, hold my drink, right?
I remember I think it was a Jack Links. They used to have a Stearman, but it had a jet engine on it.
Ah,
And it would go and they could turn it on and off, and they could make that thing just hover. That's the best of both worlds there.
That's reflecting it's like bugs and raindrops, but as you can imagine, very violent up there. That's why she likes to do liberties like today. Imagine you got to get from the left brake point. This big and around they go for the barrel roll. It was common for the ring walkers that regard storming area to storm roses. Looking at times like a tournament, other times like a trade flat. Carol's going to come by and give you a good look and a great photo opportunity. This is a battle. The murdering man. And if you got some big lenses out there, you get a great shot as well. If you're like me with the Mark I smartphone with your whole sideways, you'll get a much better shot. Inbound from the right, it's Wing Walker, Carol Elon, and the murdering man.
here comes Carol from the slow pass. Yeah, that's amazing.
Carol Vick owns 2 aircraft. She's an FAA certified airframe technician. Received her solo proclamation in 1990 and her first chill certificate in 1999. Canadian Sport Parachute Association. She has performed in front of millions of spectators around North America. Inbound now for the Launchers Cherokee on all the way and what it's like to call the side battle. Let's give it a big one.
Yeah, I'm glad Carol's doing it. Definitely don't try this at home.
Set it down for 5.5.
Did you get any opportunities to do any guest flights with whether the Blues or at any other points of your career? Did you get a treat to?
I was able
Up
to
in?
jump in the back of the Thunderbird 4 jet
Ah,
when they came out to do some winter training with us in El Centro.
okay.
That was a different flying dynamic for sure. That is a sports car, if there ever was one
Yeah,
on
right.
an airplane. You got a couple flights with Blues too, right?
We got one homecoming show back in 18. Got a flight.
So you got to feel all of it, the whole air show.
A lot of G's. A lot of G's.
And there's the move back into the front cockpit.
There, yep. Carol's done. Hearing that she is climbing back into the aircraft.
Let's put our hands together and make some noise.
That was a good little show. And
Stefan Krischak.
again, can't talk enough about what wonderful weather we're enjoying down here and
Indeed required.
beautiful skies. Everything's holding out. We're doing well.
Sit down and buckle up for land. That's just the rule. They're going to work their way back to the Pensacola International Airport, completing their display for us today. One final round of applause to Stefan Krischak and Wingwalker, Carol Eloff.
All right, Carol's out, and our pilot Stefan are heading back to Pensacola International Airport, and we're going to wait here for the decathlon flown by R.J. Gritter, who's from Greensboro, North Carolina, son of a test pilot and a flight instructor mother. So he had aviation in his blood. And then he decided to go to North Carolina State University, be a Wolfpack grad in aerospace engineering. So he not only likes to fly, but he's wicked smart.
Did you know you always wanted to be a pilot, or how did you get into aviation?
So much.
Yeah, early on in youth and rewinding the clock, Top Gun generation. When I was a young kid, Top Gun came out a little bit in Alaska. So being out on the water in a fishing boat, really kind of had a love of the water and wanted to go fly, and was able to marry those two up in naval aviation. So it was a treat. What about you? What brought you in?
I joined the Navy. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And on my way to pick out my job was called MEPS. I happened to ride along with a chief, and he was an aviation electronics technician. I said, "What is that?" I think, "Oh, I get to fix the jets and I go flying." I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to do that." Well, they forgot to mention that I needed that aircrew piece to go flying in them, but I got the AT job, which is what I wanted. And that worked out pretty well. And I just happened to fall in love with aviation from there.
That's good.
Got lucky enough. I was only going to do 4 years. I got to see Magic Flight over at the Pensacola Aviation Museum, and I saw the F-18. I was like, if I'm going to be here for 4 years, I want to do that.
That's awesome.
Fast forward
27 years later, right? Yeah.
That's the way it goes. It was a great, I love that place. Working on the flight deck, just smell the jet exhaust, working in that circus environment, be out there instead of postage stamp, watching you guys land on an aircraft carrier. That's next level.
Yeah. We're gonna need a bigger boat, right? Yeah. Aircraft carrier always from the pier. It always, to me, you walk up to an aircraft carrier in the pier and it just is enormous. It's a big ship.
Yep.
And then you get a quarter mile behind it. You're like, why couldn't they make this bigger?
Well, imagine trying to land on a runway that's moving away from you.
Uh,
So deciding to move up and down and left to right.
Yeah.
Looks like we got about a 1 minute
Yep.
check-in time. for the next-
RJ here in the boss talk to RJ. Yeah, we're still holding a little bit ahead of schedule, which nothing wrong with that. But RJ said I'm going to take about another minute here to finish his setups and then bring him and his Decathlon, which is a 2-seat aerobatic aircraft. And it's known for its agility and crisp handling. And he has been here first time last year was 2025, and he's a return customer this year, 2026. So I think we might be another good moment if we dial in and listen to Luke talk about RJ and his decathlon.
He is inbound right now going through his shakeout as we prepare for one of the most technical, mechanical, and just plain superb aerobatic performances anywhere, all in an airplane that generates only 150 horsepower. Pete Muntean, as seen on TV, will tell you all about it.
there's an issue with this year, they have all the feed from the pinch of noise, and it's hitting them. Somehow in and here we are watching RJ in the decathlon. It's a semi-symmetrical wing, and it has an inverted fuel and oil system, which allow it to sustain inverted flight. Not most aircraft with the setup, you can do a brief negative G flight or inverted flight, but not sustain. And for an airplane like this, surprisingly rated for +6 to -5 Gs of aerobatic loading. And for everyone online watching the stream, and I know tracking some comments, the team is working diligently. I know we have all the sound feed to us. We're trying to get the wonderful sounds of the jet and the prop engines fed to you, and it's hitting everything that we have at our disposal. So it might be a little bit out of our control up through the feed to Starlink or whatnot and back to the feed, but we are working to get those aircraft sounds to you. And Brian at the Blues, and you know, you were obviously there from an air show perspective. What was talked about differences, you know, when you see pilots doing vertical maneuvers and coming down over water or over land? Are there considerations pilots talk about that, whether it's, you know, visual, if the sea state, you might not be able to see the surface of the water?
Yeah, it is a completely different dynamic when they're flying over the water because it's so hard because you lose your visual where you're trying to be. You really have to trust your instruments and trust your training on looking out those checkpoints. Because when you're flying over land, you obviously have your own things you have to worry about with the high rises and everything else. But at least gives you a little bit more of that visual breakup for the ground. But when you have just a flat surface, especially on a day like today, when there is just a nice calm waters, it really can mess with your visual IQ for everything.
Yeah.
I was just watching him fly right now, just amazed at how much stress that little airplane can take
Right.
with that amount of G's it's pulling on those little wings. That is impressive.
Yeah, we watch him run through just a whole slew of different. Here's a little lazy roll, but rolls. Hammerhead was in there. Nice too that airplanes like that again associate a lot with the Blues and the Thunderbirds, the smoke, but nice airplane like RJ having the smoke so you can kind of see that maneuver through the sky, right? Help pick him up too.
Smoke is important for everybody. One, for a visual for everyone to see, but it's also a safety aspect, especially
right.
for the team, because you're closing in at 800 miles an hour. You want to be able to pick up that other airplane that you're flying right nose to nose at.
That's right. And RJ has exited, and we are waiting here now for Redline Air Shows to show up. That's father-son team flying their RV-8s from Vans Aircraft. It's Ken and Austin Reeder, and they're from Cincinnati, Ohio. Ken was a former corporate and airline pilot, had more than 13,000
RJ
flight
Gritter
hours
will fly
and
his
35 years
Valenka
of
to
experience and
Cathalon
moved
in a
to Cincinnati,
routine
Ohio,
filled with
and
crisp loops,
Pat Austin.
rolls, hammerheads, and
I'm sure that
smoke-trailed
father-son dynamic pressure was on when he was a little kid. And he was like, Austin, you're going to fly because I want to go do air shows and you and I are going to fly together.
I mean, there are worse things to do as a father-son do it for sure.
It's a light, powerful, that RV-8's a light, powerful experimental aircraft, and it has, it's known for its exceptional roll rate.
These are the airplanes from Home Built Aircraft. You buy one here, even at home fire. See the story outside of my basement. Any of these airplanes built in a hangar or a garage place, but they are very economical and stand in as a great way to get from point A to point B in a very fun way. We're going to watch now to our left, Ken Reeder in Redline lead, and to our right, Austin Reeder in Redline wing as they perform the simultaneous hammerhead turnarounds and make their way back to the center of our aerobatic airspace. This next figure is going to be called the opposing loop as they cross not once, but 3 total times. They call tally-ho. Let's watch for the cross. And there's the third and final cross as part of the opposing loop. Let's put our hands together for Team Redline. Redline, not the limit, it's the goal as they perform their reversal Humpty Bump maneuvers, as they trade altitude for airspeed, as they converge onto show center with a closure rate of nearly 400 miles per hour. There's a rapid onset of positive G as they work their way to the backstretch of the aerobatic airspace and set up for the next part of their show. Ken Reeder in the lead is a guy who's been flying for about as long as he can remember. He's accumulated more than 13,000 hours of flying time, flying everything from home-built airplanes to commercial airliners. Today, he's the owner of a construction business in the Cincinnati, Ohio area. He has built several of these Vans RV aircraft. Flying on the wing is Austin Reeder. He has accumulated several thousand hours in his own right, growing up flying with his dad. And just a few seasons ago, joined his father in earning his certification as a surface-level aerobatic performer. They are the only father-son duo in the air show business. Let's watch now from the left for the two-ship element formation loop. Flying these airplanes just 3 feet apart. How about another big round of applause for Ken and Austin Reeder? They're going to work their way off to the right-hand side and reposition for their next pass.
This next maneuver is going to be a challenging one as Ken and Austin will transition the formation from wing to line abreast or side by side, meaning they'll have to look 90 degrees from their flight path to maintain station. It's very challenging to do. We watch them as they work their way inbound, and we take this opportunity to listen in as Ken makes the calls. It doesn't get much better than that. Let's make some noise for Team Redline and the formation hammerhead turnaround. Redline Air Show is proud to be supported by Hartzell Propeller, built on honor since 1917. To Champion Aerospace, Behringer Brakes, spark plugs, and more, and to Dream Wraps of Cincinnati, Ohio. We're going to continue to listen in this time as Ken and Austin approach for what they like to call the flip and the flop. These two guys are definitely feeling good today. I can see it in their flying as they continue to shred the box out there into this in-trail looping maneuver. This is where it gets fun for these guys in this tail chase figure all the way around this complete 360-degree vertical loop. The Redline team, one of the most sought after two-ship aerobatic performers anywhere in our country today. Both Ken and Austin stay busy traveling across the continent, performing not only here in the United States, but in Canada and Latin and Central America as well. They'll perform another simultaneous hammerhead turnaround to our left-hand side, and will now showcase to you the superior roll rate control and maneuverability of these RV-8s in this rolling pass.
And again, we're working to get that aircraft sound to you, everybody. So keep bearing with us. Shout out to Heather, who's watching. How are you doing, Heather? Old friend of mine. And even got some people from Germany that have dialed in. So that was neat. We just watched Redline Air Shows as Ken and Austin Reeder are finishing up with a couple passes here, father and son team. And what a treat to be able to dial in and give the audience a break from us, Brian, but go to a professional broadcaster with Luke up there, talking with him earlier this morning. That's a pretty good gig too, right? I mean, what do? I travel the world from air show to air show and broadcast. You know, what are you doing next week? I'm going to Oshkosh. I mean, you want to talk about if you have a love for aviation and go do a job, that one's pretty good.
One, we never got to go to Oshkosh. The field was just too small for us. It has a lot of airplanes, but if you're an aviation lover for it, you want to go to see one of the big air shows, that's the one to go see. And just
Oh, yeah.
and it's so cool to see people just flying in the aircraft for the weekend and then everyone's just flying out. That's how they do. Instead of driving in, they're just flying in.
Yep. I saw one little clip. If people aren't familiar with Oshkosh, big air show up in Oshkosh. And it gets so busy on arrivals. I did see one clip one time of arrivals, and they had about 4 airplanes that they cleared all to land at the same time because the line of aircraft lined up. And it really was, you know, airplane A, you're cleared to land, but you need to land at the 5 board, you know, along the runway. You got the runway markers for how far down. So you're cleared to land at the 5 board. Airplane B, you need to stay airborne, but you're cleared to land at the 4 board. Airplane C at the 3 board, and airplane, you know, 1 at the 1 board. So all of them are touching down at different lengths of the runway. And you see that and you're like, how crazy, but just with the amount and the volume of aircraft coming in, that's how they have to operate.
That is impressive. Be air traffic controller that weekend. You're gonna
Get your money.
some therapy after that.
That's right. And with the RV-8 that we're watching Ken and Austin fly, nearly 11,000 built and flying worldwide. But yeah, none of them from a factory, all from people's garages. And like my brother-in-law who's building a airplane, not an RV-8, but he's building an airplane in his house, or the dining room, which has been converted to a aviation shop.
Is he expecting you to be the pilot?
No, he went and got his private pilot's license, and he's going to build it and fly it.
Okay. I'm sure he's probably called you for a couple pointers.
Yeah, we talk aviation now and then for sure. But yeah, it's neat to see him and my my nephew Charles working a rivet gun when you go visit.
To return to the Pensacola Beach Air Show. They are a staple each and every year. Ken Reeder in the lead will bring Austin around on the wing as they set up for a very special tribute and a little bit of love to all of those here at the 2026 Pensacola Beach Air Show, nourished by Manson. High and above, behind us now, coming over top of the beach ball, we're going to watch as they trade that altitude for some airspeed for something very special. From Team Redline with love, it's the heart in the sky. The Redline team would like to thank the Santa Rosa Island Authority for the opportunity and the invitation to fly for you today. And of course, to everyone here in Pensacola and the Gulf Coast for their great hospitality. They again want to thank Hartselle Propeller, built on honor since 1917, to Champion Aerospace, EarthX Batteries, Flightline Interiors, Hooker Harness, X Fairings Incorporated, to JB Engine Services, Leland Aerospace Technologies, Oregon Air, Stein Air, Avstar, and Dream Wraps of Cincinnati, Ohio. They are going to set up for one more.
I think we got one more pass for Ken and Austin with Redline Air Shows, and then they'll be exiting the box.
And who do we have up after them?
After that, we're going to get to enjoy the Titan Aerobatic team. again, our heavy dose of T6 Texans. So the Titan aerobatic team flies T6. So here comes Ken and Austin for their final pass.
And Austin Reader, it's Team Redline.
As you've been watching this, again, Brian, we become a little conditioned to being here in Pensacola, so the normal's normal to us, but a lot of people might not be that familiar and be here watching for the first time. When you see the camera pan and there are all those boats out there, you do see a big buoy tender from the Coast Guard, black hull, kind of right in the middle, which can look a little odd. What's this big old Coast Guard boat doing right in the middle? And that's by design to be show center. So that way the pilots, when they're flying, the beach can get pretty busy. They might not be familiar with the area. They got hotels, condos, all these other buildings. Obviously, the pier helps at Pensacola, but that ship is out there to also show the pilots this is the center of the show box. So as they're entering in or doing a maneuver and looking down, they can see the big Coast Guard vessel. Blue Angels, when we see them flying later, always have something on the far side. And then the comm cart, you had mentioned that earlier, the communications cart. When the Blue Angels own the flight box, you actually have the comm cart there, and there are people there with high-powered flashlights that can signal the pilots. So also just looking down real quickly can pick up show center and know where to set up a maneuver, right?
Yep, that's Seven's job, to make sure that he knows exactly where show center is, and he'll go out on a helicopter to make sure that is the exact position, because the whole show for the Blues is based off of visual markers, and those visual markers have to be spot on. So if that center point is off 100 feet, that's going to shift everything from all the solo hits to all the diamond maneuvers. So it's very important to make sure that that is in the right spot.
Give a little rundown too. You brought up 7, and again, for a viewer out there that might not know, as we're kind of priming for the Blues this afternoon, and what are the numbers and how do those signify and or even change from one year team to the next year team?
So we have the specific set of numbers. They called 1 through 8 are the numbered teams. So 1 is the boss, the flight lead, and then 2 is one of the diamond members, and their job, when they train out every year, is either they're going to be trained by the new boss, or their job is to train the new boss. So in winter training, that's out there, and they're making sure, and they're teaching them how to fly maneuvers. It's always a senior person teaching the junior.
Right, because 1 and 2, the boss and 2 are always offset. So this year is boss's final year.
Yep.
Right. So they'll select a new boss. So 2 next year will teach that new boss.
Exactly.
Right?
And then we also have the 3, 4 to round out the diamond. And then 3 will move into the 4 position. So 3 gets a year to learn. And then 4, his or her job is to make sure to keep everybody safe. So they're the ones they're flying in the slot. So they get a more of a view of what's going on. So they're the ones that are making sure people are cleared to move in, and they're doing a lot of the safety maneuvers and calling that. And then you have the 765. They like to call themselves the Mafia, and you throw 8 in there as well. And 8's job is the events coordinator, and they are making sure they're working with the Santa Rosa Authority and everybody else to get the show ready to go. So they're doing a lot of work during winter training to make sure that all the shows can go off flawlessly like they are here. So 7, who is the narrator for the team, and also the one that gets go out on Wednesdays and fly out all the media influencers and the hometown heroes. So 7 and 8 will jump out, and they'll start hitting the road early in winter training, and they'll go to all the show sites, and then they'll come back and set everything up. And then you have 7 will move into the 6 spot. So then they'll become the opposing solo. And then 5, who's been there the longest, been there 3-year tour, they're the lead solo. So they're the one that's the operations officer for the squadron, making sure that everything's running day in, day out. And that's the core group that you see. But then behind the scenes, you have the Marine Corps pilots, you have M1 through 3, and then you have all the supporting officers for the
and we had talked earlier, Marine Corps pilots flying Fat Albert so Bert or Ernie, right?
Yep.
The C-130 flown by Marine Corps pilots.
And we do have we let him fly the F-18 every once in a while. We had Chomps who had never flown an F-18 in his life. I think he had maybe 12 hours. He was a F-35 Harrier pilot who we let him hang out with us for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's a amazing team, the organization, or what everybody does. You have the executive officer who's making sure that keeping the things running, keeping the train on the tracks, and then the support officers between myself as the maintenance officer, supply, public affairs, a flight doc. It's a village. It takes a lot to get things going and keep it moving.
What was rough number of that squadron in comparison to an active duty Navy squadron that's flying Hornets or whatever? Because the maintenance structure is a little bit different, right? A military squadron on an aircraft carrier, you'd have a day check, so maintainers work in the day, a night check, and then a mid check. So almost 3 shifts of maintenance. Blues don't have that robust of a need, right? So that a normal squadron, probably around 210-ish personnel total, aviators and maintainers. Blues were right around.
We were at around 150 to 145. Okay. We only had about 96 maintainers total.
Okay.
To maintain 12 aircraft plus the C-130.
Okay.
It was it's a daunting task, but it's amazing what they can do day in and day out.
Sure.
Get these planes moving.
Right. That's good. Yeah. And yeah, the numbers, that was something I was, sitting there and just being a good neighbor in the hangar when I was at Wing 6, sharing the hangar with the Blue Angels, was watching that training process of, like you had said, 3 becoming 4. And a lot of that, so you have a year flying on the wing as a diamond, and then 4, so you are aware what the wing pilot's responsibilities are when you're the slot pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And not only from I can now, if I'm 4, I can train 3, but also should there be a maintenance issue and one of the wing pilots fall out from that demo that day or that practice, 4 can slide in and fly on the wing because they've done that for a year and know how to do it, right?
Exactly. Or vice versa. If 4 falls out, now it's 3's responsibility.
Right.
So 3, who is a brand new pilot, flying a brand new Blue Angel, trying to fill the 4 spot too. That happened my 2022 year in El Centro.
Okay.
The 4 jet went down for maintenance, and Jamami, his first actual air show flight, he had to fill in for the 4th spot.
Yeah. No, that's neat. Yeah, it's really, really impressive watching how the Blues go through that training process of training a pilot, training their relief essentially for that role they're doing in the Diamond or the Delta or as the solos, to keep that relentless pursuit of perfection at its optimum.
Yes.
Beach Air Show is proud to present the Titan Aerobatic Team. Jimmy Fordham in Titan number 1 brings the formation back towards show center for the formation of barrel roll. Let's watch closely as our Titan pilots maintain a 3-foot wingtip separation all the way through this full 360-degree rolling maneuver. That was the formation barrel roll flown to perfection by the Titan Aerobatic Team. Let's give it up for them. The smoke will come off as Jimmy repositions the team now for the next series of maneuvers. This, an award-winning team, recipients of both the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship and the Art Show Memorial Showmanship Award. They've also been inducted into the ICAS Air Show's Hall of Fame. Now climbing high and to the right. They'll work inbound for the signature Titan down burst maneuver. Let's listen in. Let's stand by. Ready, break. Coming back in now with closure speeds over 400 miles an hour. Brian Reagan and Steve Gustafson close in tight for the opposition loop. With number 2 and 3 clear, Titan number 1, Jimmy Fordham dives in for his own solo vertical loop as he pulls back to some 4 times. The snarl of those R1340 Wasp radial engines in power as the team positions to our left. The next one of the toughest maneuvers, a rendezvous, all while flying in sequence and upside down. Watch closely as the Titans run in for the in-trail barrel roll. Not an easy feat in these vintage 1940s Warbirds. Jimmy Fordham in the lead began flying when he was 14 years old, taught by his father, and by age 18, obtained his private instrument and commercial ratings. He's been a captain for a major airline for over 30 years. Brian Reagan flies the right wing. He came aboard in 2008 when the team was in need of a backup pilot. He's an accomplished aviator who has grown into one of the strongest wingmen on the circuit. And Steve Gustafson started flying when he was a teenager, and by 23 had logged over 4,000 total hours. He is one of the founding members of the Titan aerobatic team. This next one is called the Offset Formation Loop, giving you a superb planform view of all 3 of these North American AT6 advanced trainers. We are seeing formation aerobatics at its finest. Let's put our hands together, everybody, for the award-winning Titan aerobatic team. Keep those cameras out and at the ready. They're coming in now for the bottom-up photo pass. Look underneath the aircraft as they showcase that Titans Fuels logo as they fly just a few feet apart in close formation.
One of the finest civilian aerobatic teams in our nation today. Proud to fly the flag of Titan, fueling success to the aviation industry since 1975. Climbing now, they'll set up for a formation loop right into a series of half Cuban H reversals. We'll listen in once again as Jimmy calls for the pull. These pilots, Jimmy, Brian, and Steve, and this team have been performing for over 4 decades. They're going to bring it around for the in-trail loop as they follow one another up and over the top. The team now will wrap up their display by performing the in-trail barrel roll. In this in-trail barrel figure, they'll prep their entry to conclude their show. You do it for the paper. Pensacola, how about a very nice round of applause for the Titan Aerobatic team? As they complete and exit, they would like me to say thanks to their sponsors. They are Titan Fuels, fueling success to the aviation industry since 1975. To Aero LEDs and ACF 50. They want to thank Aircraft Spruce and Specialty, Concord Batteries, and Goodyear Aviation Tires. Also thanks to PS Engineering, Bose Aviation Headsets, Hartzell Propeller, JP Instruments, Genesis Aerosystems, Plane Power Alternators,
Mid-Continent Aircraft Instruments, Aspen Avionics, and Auric Aviation Instruments and Avionics. Thanks to AC Air Technology, Pure White Smoke Oil, Duriladine Aviation Lubricants, Hooker Harness, Desser Tire, FlightHelmet.com, Icon, to Jepson, Champion Aerospace, CJ Aviation, Durapco Aircraft Parts, Lincoln Electric, LP Aero, John's 360 Coatings, Himmel Aviation Insurance, Yunkin Aviation, Al's Aerial Spraying, Clinton Body Shop, Higher Power Hydraulic Doors, to the Warrior.
All right, and the Titan Aerobatic team is heading back to Pensacola, and we're waiting on Skip Stewart again, holding a little ahead of schedule. And I know, looking at the comments out there in the feed, appreciate it. Chris, Eric, I'm with you. Everything into us should register aircraft noise going to all of you, but somewhere between our channels and reaching your watching, listening devices, there is something outside of our control that is filtering out the aircraft noise, but we're working on it, and ideally get you some aircraft noise. My recommendation until then, you got or put on the Top Gun soundtrack in the background, some good rock and roll music, but at least enjoy the visuals that are being brought to you here by Hellcat Productions at 2026 Pensacola Beach Air Show. So,
Speaking of visuals, if you ever get a chance to go see a night show, it is just another level to the complexity of what they get to do, but also just the smoke and the flares and everything. It's impressive.
the pyrotechnics they put on the aircraft, right, to show off. So, and a shout out to Rap Boy if you're still on that was watching. Hi, Rap Boy. Good to hear from you. So we were waiting for Skip Stewart, and he from nearby Decatur, Alabama, and he did his flying career through civilian aviation, and was up to and including an airline captain in the Boeing 727 and MD-11, and then the joy of the air show caught him, and he became a full-time air show performer.
All right, sounds like we got Skip Stewart flying in right now.
Souped up muscle biplane. It's known as Prometheus. It's Skip Stewart.
Is flying Prometheus. That's the name of his aircraft.
No, it knows.
Slightly modified. It's one of a kind biplane,
His display.
and it is built purposely for aerobatic maneuvers and coming to air shows. Blistering snap rolls, great vertical climbs, overpowered engine for his aircraft, and he will kick us in the aviation guts with some real aggressive low-level tumbles.
Skip Stewart, the 2013 recipient of the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship and the 2015 recipient of the Art Scholl Memorial Showmanship Award. He's one of the world's most recognizable aerobatic pilots. We're going to watch him push vertical as he prepares to stop this airplane in one spot in the sky. He'll kick it using that giant oversized rudder and that gyroscopic force to turn on a dime and give you 8.5 cents change. That's a maneuver called the pinwheel. Upside down now and accelerating inverted. Everything in that cockpit being pushed towards the glass and the ground and the water as Skip is pushed out of the seat. He is not backing off. We're going to watch him now for this maneuver called the triple avalanche. Watch as he rolls it. There's 1, 2, and 3. He'll stop it. It's a loop with 3 snap rolls on the top. That's the precision, the power, and the performance of Skip Stewart and Prometheus. Now, Skip doesn't just borrow this name. He flies with the same fire and rebellious energy. The biplane Prometheus means forethought. It was the rebel titan who displeased Zeus and gave the people of Earth the power of fire. Prometheus has been built to become the ultimate hot rod machine. 400 horsepower, 540 cubic inches of Lycoming power, and it just claws at the air. It looks aggressive just sitting on the ground. He'll climb it into the vertical once more. What do you think, Florida? Let's put our hands together for Skip Stewart. And he is not done yet. right down onto the surface of the water to our left as he pulls back on the stick. He's going to throw in some forward rudder, forward stick, and around he goes. It's called the centrifuge. In relatively high speed flight or slow speed flight, Prometheus stays very maneuverable in just about every speed regime. We talk a lot about those positive G's, push him into the sea, but Skip does it the hard way in negative G flights. During many parts of his routine, here's a called the Lumshabach. It's Czechoslovakian for headache. You can see why. It's kind of like going for a ride in your washing machine. That is a violent experience in that airplane. He does not wear a G suit. There's no air conditioning as well. He is firmly placed into the seat in his aircraft with a 5-point harness. The aircraft weighs only about 1,200 pounds. They say you don't so much get into these airplanes as you do strap them on. The wings, very much an extension of Skip's personality. He'll continue inverted, holding it all the way down the line and now push forward. That's got to hurt. Skip's flying has been featured on the Today Show, Good Morning America, as well as various magazines, including Air and Space Magazine, AOPA, Sports Illustrated, Plane and Pilot, World Air Show News, and many international outlets and publications. Slow it down into the high alpha pass for a couple of moments there. He'll accelerate with a series of aileron rolls on the downside. In his right hand, the control stick. In his left hand, the throttle. And down by his feet, he has his rudder pedals, working the ailerons for roll, the elevator for pitch, and the rudder for yaw to do things with this aircraft once thought to be impossible. Let's again put our hands together and hear it all down the beach for Skip Stewart and Prometheus. Skip was also the first aviator to fly an airplane under a jumping motorcycle. He's known for teaming up with other pilots in an act called 10 Sticks of Dynamite, dueling various airplanes against one another and other like-minded performers as part of the ultimate air show entertainment package. Now, as Skip works his way off to the right, I want you to take a look in front of us on the pier. You will see a couple of poles set out there. That's right, 2 poles separated by about 45 feet. There's a ribbon out there that is separated from the pier base by about 30 feet. We're going to watch Skip as he goes right through and tears that ribbon to shreds. He's one of a very few anywhere in the world to do the inverted ribbon cut. He's the only guy that we know who does it while flying over top of a pier. Let's give it up, everybody, for Skip Stewart in the inverted ribbon cut. He obliterated those ribbons for us today. Skip is going to continue to work his way around to the left in this muscle biplane. The origins of the Pitt Special go all the way back to the 1940s, but this one, a very modernized design. It's kind of like how car enthusiasts will go and modify an old antique vehicle into a rat rod or a hot rod of some type. But Skip Stewart is known for flying very low to the water, and he's going to do that right now, down at fish-scaring altitudes. This is what we call knife-edge flight. Take a look as he holds it just a few feet above the water in front of us. It's Skip Stewart and Prometheus. And he'll continue in knife-edge flight, working his way down the line. The wings there, not really creating any lift whatsoever, just the propeller, some 400 horsepower, and the tail dragging him along. Skip Stewart Air Shows brought to you in part by Aero Classics, Electronics International, Switlick Survival Products, Goodyear Aviation, Their Harness, Concord Batteries, Airflow Performance, Champion Aerospace, Sarasota Avionics, Pacific Oil Coolers, MGL Avionics, and Behringer Aero.
And Red Bull skip is clear. We are on to
And he's out, ladies and gentlemen, for the 2026 Pensacola Beach Air Show, nourished by Manson. Join me in a big round of applause for Skip Stewart and Prometheus. Absolutely incredible. And what a great sight that was. That inverted ribbon cut, very challenging to do, as you can imagine, made even more so difficult with the winds that we have out here as well. He got it on time and on target. Coming up next, we're going to welcome to our box before we turn things over that aerobatic airspace to our United States Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels, at 2 o'clock. It's now time that we get ready for the Red Bull Air Force.
All right, we're back with you here. I know people are enjoying listening to Luke as he gives his professional explanation and description of the aviation display that's going on before us here. Skip Stewart in Prometheus, just a part of the pattern after putting on a phenomenal show. By the way, his career honors, shout out to him, Art Scholl Award and Bill Barber Award for sportsmanship. He's received both those, which are two of Air Show Award top honors. And a little bummed to hear all over the radios right now, the B-1B Lancers had to cancel, so we won't see the Bone today. Hopefully we'll see them here tomorrow if you come out to the beach or dial in again. But we do have, so what does it mean, people on the beach? Much longer water break so people can get in and beat the heat a little bit before the Blue Angels come to fly. And for those watching, we'll do some commercial fillers and give some acknowledgement to all the wonderful sponsors out there that help out Hellcat and what they do and doing this production, bringing it to you. And again, acknowledge, and we're as frustrated as everybody else is that you can't hear all the aircraft sounds. And again, we're chasing those gremlins because everything reaching us said you should be. So it's something beyond our control here at the production desk going out. And we'll keep chasing that, trying to get that to you because we know people would love to hear those. So as I mentioned on the last break to Chris and Eric, fire up some good old your favorite rock and roll tunes and be dialed in. But for your treat now, we got Red Bull coming out. We got Aaron Fitzgerald flying a helicopter. He's from Wenatchee, Washington, and he was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne and became a pilot. And Kevin Coleman flying a plane. He's from the Coushatta Stonewall area in Louisiana and from a multi-generational air show family. And he began his training at 10. So they got them, and they got Luke Akins, who does some skydiving, and his team of skydivers. So we're about to see a helicopter do things that a helicopter should not do, an airplane do things that's going to wow us, and skydivers doing stuff just gracing the sky. And Brian, your time again, if people have just joined in, Scott Janik, retired Navy, Brian's retired Navy, and Brian got to do a tour with the Blues, which I bring it up because a good little time traveling the air show circuit, probably a lot of time seeing Red Bull. And give us your, kind of give us a little background on your thoughts on the team or just what they bring to an air show.
It's so much fun because the air show is such a small circuit. It's such a family of traveling when you go there, and you see the same performers, like you see Skip Stewart, he's a pillar of the community, and you have the Red Bull teams, what they can do and bring to this. It's just a different level, a different layer to what an air show actually can do. I think we'll definitely want to listen in and kick it over to Luke.
There's Luke Akins jumping from a helicopter as Kevin Coleman goes underneath. Luke Akins is now under canopy. How about that to open the Red Bull Air Force display? Let's give it up for Luke Akins. Absolutely incredible. Luke, welcome to the party, man. You've got the most expeditious arrival at Pensacola Beach, I think, of anybody today. He's going to continue to work his way into the target area. Flare and watch for the risers to come down. That's a tiptoe landing. Let's give it up for Luke Akins. Oh, yeah, and we're just getting started. Now, with Luke safely on the ground, I want you to take a look in front of us as Kevin Coleman from Coachella, Louisiana, prepares to turn this airplane, the German-built Extra 300, all ways but straight. Kevin Coleman, a former Red Bull Air Race participant in the Challenger class, where he went and placed very highly in those international races that took place throughout the United States and also around the world. He's on 5,000 hours of flight time as he goes over the pier, and he'll work his way off to the right. This is some incredible stuff indeed as Kevin Coleman caps it off on the top to the right in a maneuver known as the spiraling tower. He knows the right input to get the right output each and every time. Right down on the deck, we're going to watch. There's 220, 230 miles an hour, just inches above the water out there. And he will ease that stick back into his lap. There's about 7 Gs. If you were in the airplane with Kevin, you would hear him go as he works to stress his lower body muscles. There are 7 Gs trying to push him out of the cockpit as he goes right over top of the pier and rolls the airplane some 420 degrees per second. Fun fact about Kevin, he's a relatively brand new dad. Back last year in April, we celebrated that at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. So big congratulations to Kevin and the fam. To the inverted once more, to our left-hand side. We're going to watch him as he's hanging on by his seatbelt and showcasing to us why indeed Red Bull gives you wings. But judged by your round of applause, how do you like Kevin Coleman so far? These airplanes no longer structurally limited by their builds. They're structurally limited now only by the physical stamina and the structural build of the pilot inside. He'll put it through 3 rapid snap rolls on the top as he completes the triple avalanche and extends to air show left. Kevin Coleman, a guy who started flying at a very young age, mentored by the great late Marion Cole, a tremendous air show pilot and very talented aerobatic aviator. Kevin Coleman has dedicated much of his entire being to this high-performance environment of precision aerobatic flight. We are now going to watch as Kevin repositions to our right-hand side. And I want you to take a look high overhead. We've got jumpers away. Working their way inbound right now is that of Mike Swanson and Jeff Provenzano. They are flying wingsuits. Take a look at this as they track across the ground at some 100 plus miles per hour. They fly up there almost like that of Rocky the Flying Squirrel. They have panels that connect the suits that they wear in order to use their legs and their arms as flight controls. A skilled skydiver under a wingsuit can actually track miles across the ground. It is incredible stuff. The glide ratio, some 4-to-1. We're going to watch now as Mike Swanson and John DeVore pick up our drop zone. They're going to get a little bit of speed as they transition it into the horizontal. They are now low enough that they can hear you, Pensacola Beach. Let's make some noise for the Red Bull Air Force. Inbound like a seating ticket. Swoop, there it is. Let's give it up, everybody, for Mike Swanson. John DeVore working his way inbound right now. Speed some 45 miles an hour for a beautiful touchdown landing in our landing area. I don't know about you, but this is some incredible flying indeed. And it's time that we step it up one more notch as we welcome to our show now that of Aaron Fitzgerald. He's one of just a handful of guys anywhere on the planet who's authorized to do things like this. Yep, flies a helicopter upside down. We were telling you a little bit about the Bo 105. It's a very rugged helicopter with a fully stable and very rigid titanium rotor blade. If you did this with another helicopter, you'd rip the rotors right off of it. We're going to watch Aaron Fitzgerald from Washington State as he brings this helicopter inbound. And he will pull back on the cyclic and the collective. Those are the controls of the helicopter to perform a loop, doing things that helicopters simply just aren't made to do. And believe it or not, it's fairly mundane in that cockpit, but the G-forces just make lunch, breakfast, and dinner show up all over again for me. Aaron's hands and feet stay very busy. He's kind of like riding a unicycle and juggling all at the same time. Aaron Fitzgerald has done quite a bit of film work in these helicopters and has even served in the medevac environment for many years. Again, very popular in Europe. We're going to continue to watch this guy. A former U.S. Army paratrooper who served in the 82nd Airborne Division. Fitz has obtained more than 10,000 hours of flight time. He was trained by the legends, Rainer Wilke and Blackie Schwartz, the masters of helicopter aerobatics in Austria with the Flying Bulls. He has supported hundreds of movies and TV shows from SWAT, SEAL Team Extraction, The Mummy, Countdown, The Diplomat, NCIS, Snowfall, 911, and many more. He has also served as the aerial coordinator for many projects that have set world records. On top of his exploits is one of the very few who call themselves Flying Bulls. Aaron Fitzgerald also flies UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters for the Forest Service fighting fires in the western part of the United States. There's the backflip. And believe it or not, it's kind of mundane in that airplane. It's quiet. And he only experiences just a few G's as he works his way around. The things that just kind of get you is the sound of those rotor blades going as they claw into the air as we continue to see Aaron Fitzgerald in the BO 105. The helicopter also used by military and police forces around the world. Some 1,400 have been built. Now, in just a moment, Aaron Fitzgerald's going to set up for one of my favorite maneuvers. It's called the bow turn. And it is a wild ride indeed. Watch him as he backs it up once again. The cyclic and the collective pulling them both backwards or up that help control both the pitch of that rotor blade system and also the independent rotors as a whole. That's how he makes it work. He's going to continue to climb it. Here's the bow turn. Watch as he rotates it around. That is really something, and we're seeing it big time here today. Let's continue to put our hands together for the Red Bull Air Force and Aaron Fitzgerald in the BO 105 helicopter. As a kid, Aaron Fitzgerald would watch the firebombers take off in his home state of Washington State to fight the forest fires. Oh, here's another one of those backflip maneuvers. He gets light inside that cockpit every so often, and here comes a whole lot of G. Here's the BO 105 and the minimum radius turn. This is the maneuver that we make Aaron Fitzgerald do. It's going to be his bow to each and every one of you. So he's going to continue to crank it around the USS Barbara Mabritti out there. He's going to bring it into a hover and give you a bow, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a wave. He can see you. And that will complete his performance as part of the Red Bull BO-105 helicopter. As he clears low and to the left, high and to the left, it's time that we continue to keep things going in a grand way. Here's Kevin Coleman. Watch as he falls this airplane out of the sky at some 4,000 feet per minute. That airplane no longer flying, it is falling and falling with style. As he works his way inbound from the left, right about in here, he will reconnect with that air and fly out of it just 1,000 feet above the water. He sets up for his next maneuver. This is called the Indo Tumble. Kevin Coleman from Coshada, Louisiana. When he joined this team of the Red Bull Air Force, he brought with him his competitive style and atmosphere that he brings, bringing precise, planned, and executed maneuvers perfectly, and doing so at the next level. He performs many fascinating maneuvers that, well, a lot of people just haven't seen. This is called the torque roll. Take a look at this as he uses the torque of the engine, turning one direction, forcing the airplane to turn the other. The propeller backing up now in the reverse. This was seen back in 1972 by the great Charlie Hillard to win for the U.S. the gold. It's called the torque roll, and he backed it up like Terry. Let's give it up for Kevin Coleman and the torque roll.
Good job, guys. Good study here. That's great. Thanks.
I'm just going to let you watch this guy fly, continuing to tear it up in an airplane, all three dimensions and seemingly more in the extra 330 SHP. It's Red Bull's Kevin Coleman.
Again. Not yet. Step by six. 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 Step by seven, I got you. 8, 7. 6, 8, 11. Step by 6. 6, 7. Step by 8. 8, 8, 8. Step by 7. Same again. Step by 6. Same again. 6. Step by 6. 6, 3. 8. Step by 6. 8. Step by 7. 6. 8.
He takes a quick breather to cinch up those seatbelts and shoulder harnesses, ensure his engine temperatures are in the green, and he is set and ready to go as he sets up for the final few passes of today's show from the Red Bull Air Force. It's Kevin Coleman and the extra 300 SHP.
About 8. 8. Stay with you.
He holds it upside down in the inverted carrier pass as he pushes forward on the stick. That's the world's smallest outside loop. 2 points of a 4-point hesitation roll will bring him back to show center. In the challenger class of the Red Bull Air Race World Championships, Kevin impressed everyone, doing remarkably well in the standings. That race series all about speed, energy, and momentum, and a great deal of punishment in that cockpit that requires Kevin and those who do this type of flying to be in top physical condition. Kevin would like to thank the men and women of our United States military. He wants to thank his dad, his mom, his mentors, and also the legendary Marion Cole for teaching him how to fly aerobatics. Now, this is a signature maneuver for Kevin. This is called the outside octagon loop. He's the only guy in the business who does it. Negative G's hurt. They're not fun, but he's going to now work his way to the back part of this giant stop sign in the sky. He'll experience about 6 negative G's right there. All the forces of gravity pushing that blood up into his head. He will at times actually see pink or red because of those forces pushing all of that blood upwards. The human body can again withstand a whole lot more positive than it can negative. Those negative G maneuvers like this outside tumble, the mark of a very competent and very impressive aerobatic and air show aviator. Kevin Coleman and Kevin Coleman Aerosports. You want to thank Two Bro Aviation, Kelly Aero, Tempest Aero, Hartzell Propeller, and of course, Red Bull ship cases that they do indeed give you wings. You can follow Kevin Coleman on all the social medias at the Kevin Coleman. Setting up now for one of his final maneuvers now. This is going to be the hover. Take a look at this. He's going to slow the airplane down to nearly zero airspeed. It is his salute to the mighty AV-8B Harrier II that was previously flown by the U.S. Marine Corps. Some 350 horsepower up there allows him with this wind to hit the pause button. He has put it into park. He has turned his aircraft into a helicopter. That's the Harrier pass, everybody. Let's make some noise up and down the line for Red Bull's Kevin Coleman. Ladies and gentlemen, for the Red Bull Air Force, Luke Akins, Mike Swanson, John DeBoer, Jeff Provenzano, Aaron Fitzgerald in the helicopter, and also Kevin Coleman. Let's give it up one final time for the folks that bring you wings. It's the Red Bull Air Force.
And count them down.
Now,
All right, and there departs the Red Bull Air Force, and what a show again. Helicopter doing something a helicopter shouldn't do, Brian. Whatever. I see it, and aerodynamically, I'm like, it shouldn't happen.
Absolutely not. And then you have planes doing things that helicopters are doing.
Right?
They push it to the limit for with the Red Bull team. They are a talented group of folks right there.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive to watch. And again, nice for us to be able to tap in, and Luke, the professional air show announcer, being willing to let everyone there with watching Hellcat listen in. And again, acknowledge everybody. You know, it's a gremlin outside of our control about the lack of aircraft noise. We know people desire it, and we're working to get that to you. We are going to take a break now. We know that unfortunately the Bones are not around. They could not make it, so we are not going to have the B1B. So we have about 45 minutes until the Blue Angels take to the sky. So we are going to go to an extended break. Those on the beach, I know, are probably racing to the water to cool down a little bit. And then we'll run some commercials for our sponsors, let you hear some stuff from them, and then get excited for the Blue Angels, right?
Ready for it. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. So looking forward to seeing everybody back in 45 minutes and get those soundtracks ready. If, again, we haven't gotten the jet noise figured out by then, you can just pump in some Top Gun soundtrack to listen while we watch the Blue Angels at 2. So looking to see everybody at 2. Thanks for joining us here at Hellcat in the 2026 Pensacola Air Show.
Hi, I'm Kyle Kozad, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Naval Aviation Museum Foundation.
Thank you, guys.
I'd like to welcome everybody to this year's
Clear.
Red, White,
Whoa, that felt like a dream.
I do want to extend a very big shout out to our longtime supporter of the Philippines Negotiator, Bonnie and David McDonald. She's the one in charge of working the right sound for the Big Philippines Show over the past 31 years. Wow, thank you, Bonnie, so very much.
Hi, I'm Kyle Kozad, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Naval Aviation Museum Foundation. I'd like to welcome everybody to this year's Red, White, and Blues Pensacola Beach Air Show. This year's going to be exciting. The weather's going to be great, and you're going to see the most impressive aviators in the world. Our Navy's Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels, who are celebrating their 80th anniversary. Go Navy.
Off brakes now. Runners ready now. Up we go.
Get inspired at the National Naval Aviation Museum.
You know the name of that cloud?
What does it take to survive the journey home? This is where heroes are remembered.
CEMEX is an industry-leading global construction materials and solutions company that drives innovation to help the world reach the next frontier of sustainable living. Whether you're craving a signature pizza, a toasty panini, or stacked panino, or wish to peruse the bodega aisles, you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you find. All you need is a little sun and a stop at Piazza Pizza and Beach Bodega.
Hello, everyone. Ensign Toth, Blue Angels Crew Chief number 3 and 4 from 2018 to 2020.
I'm Lieutenant Commander Julius Bratton, Blue Angels 7, 6, and 5 from the 2020 to the 2023 show seasons.
Commander Juan Guerra, Doc from 2017 to 2018.
I'm Captain Alex Armitage, Blue Angel Commanding Officer and Flight Leader for 2023 and 2024. On behalf of all of the former Blue Angels embarked on USS George H.W. Bush, we wanted to take a moment to express our congratulations to all of the current and former team members on 80 years of showcasing the teamwork and professionalism of the United States Navy Marine Corps. It has been an absolute honor for all of us to be a small part of the legacy of this incredible team, and we look forward to watching Blue Angels perform for many years to come. Thank you.
Hello, fellow Blue Angels of the 2026 team. I'm Keith Hoskins, former 765, served on the team 1999 to 2001. This is an amazing year. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. 80 years of the Blue Angel experience. I just want to tell you, 2026 team, you continue to carry the torch and exemplify the pride and the professionalism of the United States Naval Service. Keep up the great work, and thank you for all that you do. Happy anniversary, team.
Hey, congratulations to the Blue Angels on 80 successful years. Pretty impressive. Thank you to all those that have gone before to pave the way all the way up this 80 years, and we look forward to seeing those that are carry on the tradition.
Hello, this is Commander Bill Wheat in Navarre, Florida. I was a team leader from 1967 to 1969 and transitioned the team from the F-11 Tiger to the F-4 Phantom. Wishing the Blue Angels a happy 80th anniversary. Go Navy.
Hey Blue Angels, Jackson Strife here, C-130 demo pilot with Fat Albert from 2021 to 2023. Just wanted to wish you a happy 80th anniversary. Just want you to know we're all super proud of you. You guys are doing an amazing job. And I look forward to seeing what kind of a season you guys put together. And we're all rooting for you.
Hi, my name is Andy Caputi, call sign Truman. I'm a former solo pilot for the United States Navy Blue Angels. I want to express my profound gratitude and sincere congratulations to all Blue Angels, past, present, and future, who will be celebrating the team's 80th anniversary this year. I am so very proud to be a part of that legacy. On this occasion, we recognize the men and women of the Blue Angels for their professionalism, patriotism, and pursuit of excellence. You represent unparalleled awesomeness. The Blues are the best of the best, and we salute you. You are celebrated by the most fantastic fan base in the world, and we all wish you a happy 80th anniversary. Thank you.
Hey, this is Skip Stewart. We're out here celebrating the 4th of July, America's birthday, but just as important, it's the 80th anniversary of the Blue Angels, so I want to give them a big congratulations.
Hello, Jimmy Fordham, lead pilot with the Titan Aerobatic Team. I've got Brian Reagan on my right wing. I've got Steve Gustafson and the original founder of the Titan Aerobatic Team on my left wing. And we are coming to Pensacola Beach, Florida to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the United States Navy Blue Angels Flight Demonstration Team. We're looking forward to a great show. Come check it out. July the 18th at Pensacola Beach. Smoke on! Let's do it.
We're Ken and Austin from Red Line Air Shows.
We wanted to wish the Blue Angels happy 80th anniversary.
You know, we've had the opportunity to fly with the Blue Angels at a whole bunch of different air shows all over the country, and we've actually had a chance to fly with them in formation. And I'll tell you, it's a privilege for us to do it, and we really look forward to flying many more years with the Blue Angels. Happy anniversary.
Hello, Stephanie Getz here, president and one of the pilots of the Pink Jet. Congratulations to the Blue Angels on an incredible 80 years. For 8 decades, you have represented excellence, precision, discipline, and service, inspiring millions of people to look up to the skies and dream bigger, myself included. Your commitment to your country and to inspiring the next generation is something the entire aviation community deeply appreciates. It's an honor to share the skies with you at the Pensacola Beach Air Show this year. On behalf of all of us at the Pink Jet, congratulations on this remarkable milestone. Here's to the next 80 years of inspiring aviators everywhere.
Hi, this is Carol. I'm here with Third Strike Wing Walking with Stefan and Joe. We would like to take this opportunity to wish the Blue Angels a very happy 80th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Hi, this is Frank Kimmel. I'd like to congratulate the Blue Angels for 80 years of aviation excellence, and thank you for inspiring pilots young and old. And I want to thank you personally for inspiring me. I can't forget the first time I watched the Blue Angels fly, and my favorite maneuver, of course, is the bomb burst. Man, that's so incredible and hard to do. So God bless all you Blue Angels past and present, and don't forget pilots and the crew members. God bless you crew members too, because we know what it takes to keep these airplanes flying. And God bless America.
Hi everyone, this is Laura DeBella. I am chairman of the Federal Maritime Commission and so proud to give my wellest wishes to the Blue Angels on their 80th anniversary, celebrating such a milestone for such an amazing group of talented aviators. You make us so proud to be American. Congratulations to all of you, and keep up the most amazing work.
Well, hi, everybody. This is Air Show announcer Luke Carrico. It is an honor to be the voice of the Pensacola Beach Air Show, made even more so special on this 80th anniversary of the U.S. Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron. I just want to say a big hello to all my friends and a congratulations to the entire team on this significant milestone, 80 years of the Blue Angels.
Hey Blue Angels, Brian Abe here, former Mo. Just want to wish y'all a happy 80th anniversary. It's a huge milestone. To all the maintainers, public affairs, admin, supply, everybody that makes the team work, want to say congratulations. Hope you enjoy your 80th season and look forward to seeing you out there. Glad to be here.
Hello, Blue Angels. Chip Ogard from the 2000-2001 team. To the 2026 team, thanks for superbly representing 80 years of Blue Angels tradition. To all Blue Angels, thanks for your service. Diamond rules. Glad to be here.
Howdy Blue Angels, this is Frank Zasterville, here to wish you a happy 80th anniversary from Accra, Ghana.
Hi, I'm John Fay. I had the privilege of serving with U.S. Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels, during the 2022 and 2023 show seasons. For over 80 years, the Blue Angels have represented something bigger than an air show. Precision, discipline, trust, teamwork, service. Behind every flight demonstration is a team of professionals committed to excellence. Pilots, maintainers, support personnel, families, and generations of sailors and Marines who wore the patch before us. As a former Blue Angels executive officer, I can tell you the magic people see in the sky is built long before takeoff through preparation, accountability, humility, and trust in one another. The Blue Angels remind America what's possible when ordinary people commit themselves to an extraordinary standard. To all who have served with our team, and to the families, fans, sponsors, supporters, and communities across America who have supported the mission and welcome us into your hometowns for generations. Happy 80th anniversary. I'm glad to be here.
Hey team, happy 80th. Welcome to Freedom Ranch. Manny Momir Sanchez here. Just wanted to send a shout out and wishing you all the best. Now, whether you're Team Diamond or Team Solo, we all know who the real VIP is. Team Maintenance. But with all sincerity, wish you all the best on this great milestone. Hope to see you everyone at end of season. Glad to be here, boss.
Hey, old Blues and current Blues. What a great anniversary year this is, 80. Oh my gosh. You know, put it in perspective, the country's 250 years old. The Blues have been around almost a third of the history of America. Isn't that something? What an opportunity to be on the team. I just thoroughly enjoyed it and had so many things I got to do, take the team to Moscow and do some other stuff that was just beyond my ability, but we got it done. So thanks to a great team. Another statistics I like is that, you know, when we watch the team fly, it's only 5% of the team that people are looking at. The other 95% that are turning the wrenches and have done so for 80 years superbly and never left us without an airplane to fly, you know, they deserve a lot of recognition. So on this birthday, 80 years. I wish you all great times. I just got done watching the show here in St. Louis, and it was terrific. Got to see a couple of wonderful former teammates, and it was terrific. So, all right, happy birthday, Blues.
The Naval Aviation Museum Foundation is a 501c3 for-cause organization and is responsible for fundraising and development to support your National Naval Aviation Museum.
Optimism isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's fixing things, changing the way we fix things. Rolled up sleeves, breaking through, growing power to meet growing needs, working to run the world on smarter energy every day, taking power where the grid's never been, then getting up and doing it again. Because if optimism never stops, then change can't either. GE Vernova, the energy of change.
Gulf Coast Industrial is part of a family of companies unified by purpose to deliver safe, reliable solutions to our clients' unique challenges. We are committed to providing superior service and leaving things better than we found them.
Located behind the gorgeous Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott, directly on the Gulf of America, Fish Heads is the seasonal pool bar and grill that offers fresh food, incredible views, and a come-as-you-are vibe. On the second floor of the Hilton Pensacola Beach, you'll find Bonsai, a beacon of Japanese culinary excellence, offering patrons an elevated dining experience. The innovative sushi team at Bonsai has created an inspired menu of gourmet sushi, Wagyu beef, top-shelf sake, aged soy, and our signature smoked tuna rolls, topped with Hackleback caviar. Bonsai provides unobstructed Gulf views and is Pensacola Beach's most exclusive culinary dining experience. Blue Wind manufactures high-performance composite parts for the wind energy market, including nacelle covers, bulkheads, and other components for demanding applications. The company is one of the largest manufacturers of nacelle covers in the United States. Founded in 2019 in Pensacola, Florida, Blue Wind supports wind power programs that require scale, technical capability, and consistent production.
Get it? Okay.
You're welcome. I can hear you.
And now get ready. Here come the United States Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, the Blue Angels, sponsored by the Naval Aviation Museum Foundation.
Once you start, I'm going to take my Nat sound off your mic. And I'll say, don't talk. When I do this, don't talk. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to work with the Realms team and figure out. Oh, oh, no, talk because. Are you gonna go to them? Yeah. Are you ready?
Welcome back to Hellcat Productions. We're here at the 2026 Pensacola Beach Air Show. We got Scott Mongo Janik, Brian Aubie here, and it's about that time.
It is. We're ready to go. We are moments away from the Blue Angels being overhead.
That's right. So we're gonna take peeks out there to make sure we're not interrupting anything. But Brian had a chance to do a tour with the Blue Angels, and Brian, talk just for a quick second on what it means to be here, 80th anniversary of the Blues, and what do you guys, former team members, what does that mean?
It's just, I mean, it's historic. There's 80 years of history with this team and everything they've done, the good, the bad. And it's an amazing experience to be part of this community and be here to support not only the team in their 80th year, because that's what we do as X's and honoraries. We want to be there to support. So we're there to, if they need the trash taken out, if they're on the road, we're here for them. But it's really about just being here, being part of it, and showing the support for the team here. So we're excited. I think there'll be should be checking here pretty soon, and we'll be getting ready to go.
Yeah, a little different being at Pensacola Beach than at a air station air show or at an airfield, because you don't see them take off, you don't see them land. So we're watching offshore because the Blue Angels will take off from Naval Air Station Pensacola, fly out here, and as we're looking here to our left, that's out over the water. So we're watching for the Blues. So because they should come nose on to us to start the show, and the Diamond, which is the foreplane, would peel off, and then the two solos would peel off.
I love the remote entries. They're so much fun because you just automatically, as soon as you see the smoke come on of all the 6 planes, but then you have the solos just start off the show.
That's
and
right.
They just get to go over and they just go right over the beach ball and they kick it off. And that's where the energy really starts because, love the Diamond, but love the solos too. So
we got this year, you got Captain Adam Bryan as the boss. So in the 1 jet, the 2 jets, Lieutenant Cameron Schneider. 3 jet is Lieutenant Chris Hoban. 4 Lieutenant Colonel, so Marine on the team, which is not abnormal, but Lieutenant Colonel Wilkins. The 5 jet lead solo, Lieutenant Commander Connor O'Donnell. And then the 6 jet, another Marine, Major Scott Lautz, coming at us. So I have heard the announcer say, all right, and we got him coming right over center point, and on your screen now are the Blue Angels.
Bosch just attached the solos, so they're getting ready to go. Music gets kick off, and you get to see the 5 to 6 jet come straight over us.
Now, with the weather, the Blues have 3 different types of shows they could fly this year: a high show, a low show, and a flat show. And that's all driven by cloud ceiling.
Yep.
As the solos come back around in center point. And those altitudes all driven by high show, and Brian might have this stuff memorized. 8,000 foot cloud ceiling, so you can do the full vertical maneuvers. a low show around 5,000 foot ceiling, and then a flat show 1,500 foot or whatnot. So where do the airplanes have in terms of the ability to go vertical, and two things, not go into clouds and potentially lose sight of each other, or lose sight of the ground and have a difficult time with their reference points, right?
Exactly. And also make sure that they're don't lose sight of each other too as they're coming in for join. So it's a call that boss will make. They'll get the information from the 5 jet. They'll get the lead solo, pass information to Mo, and then Mo will relay that information to boss when it comes through on the Diamond 360. And then he'll declare if it's going to be a high show, which looks like these clouds are going to give us a high show today, which is going to be great.
Back up. Sorry for debris. Okay.
That's a 360.
And here's the Diamond 360 coming from the right, as you see the 3 plane there. So I'll have to eyeball the tail numbers. When the Diamond has 3 jets, either the 2 or the 3 dropped out, the slot, the 4 jet slid up into that spot, or the slot dropped out, whether that's for a maintenance reason or whatnot. So there's a Diamond 360, and then we'll be looking for the solos to come in. So using knife edge.
So it's coming in from left to right. They'll be coming in for the knife edge pass.
Yeah. So, number 7, take your jet from the left. 8, take your to the right. 6, stay there. 8, the face up. 10 by 7. Steps up. 10 by 6. 6 up.
And the Blue Angels really is, and when you see the pan of the camera again, if you've just kind of joined us for the Blues, we spoke about it earlier, but you'll see a big Coast Guard buoy tender ship out there, black hull, white superstructure. And so the pilots are using that as center point. So the solos, a maneuver like they just did, the opposing knife edge pass, using that to hit their marks. They want that maneuver to happen right at that center point. So the Diamond is coming in, and they'll be doing the Diamond roll.
Right. Stay here right now. Hang on 7. 10 by 7. 10 by 8. I call you something else. Stay here at that. 10 by 8. 8. Run. Very good. 7 lock in here right. 8 on that. 7. 8 seconds. And stop. 10 by 6.
And as Diamond clears out, next we come in for the solos for the inverted rolls. They'll be the solos are listening to the Diamond as they're moving out, so they make sure to deconflict the time. So they're going to roll the aircraft 360 degrees, and they're going to hit it right at show point.
All right, 8. I got you. 10 by 8. You're up.
Yeah, when you watch a show in the Blues, when the solos come in, and you'll see them give them a little hit of smoke.
5. 8.
Yeah, you'll see them a lot of times give a little hit of smoke when they're outside of the show center box. And that is for each pilot to make sure that they have sight of one another as they're coming on nose to nose on a maneuver like that.
They'll see each other with the smoke on. They'll call contact so they know that they heard each other. They saw each other. And there's a cadence that they always want to talk about. So it's the same thing, repeatable every single time.
That's right.
So they spend 3 months in El Centro practicing 120 flights to make sure that what they're doing is safe and precise.
Yeah. And now we have the Diamond coming in from our left for the Diamond aileron roll.
Your live stick. 10 by 8.
And I tell you, as a former aviator, right? That maneuver to me is so impressive in its simplicity. You watch it, you see 3-4 airplanes do a roll. But the reality, the technique and the precision, like you were just saying, the practice that takes at winter training and then throughout the year to get the roll rate the same, to make it look identical, that's a lot more challenging than people watching on the beach or on TV just see.
Because each jet rolls differently too. So depending, and the pilots love to have their own. They try to keep their own jet. They try to keep them in there because that's what they feel comfortable in. And they know when I roll, I need to give it a little extra stick to make sure that it snaps back the way it needs to. So it's just a comfortable feel. It's like driving a car. You want to make sure you know what your car drives like.
Yep. And here comes the Solos and the Fortis. And both aircraft, dirty configuration with their tailhooks down. So that configuration, carrier landing configuration. And you'll notice that one's upright and one's inverted, flying form, while dirty.
And while all these maneuvers are happening, you also have the flight doc at Comcard. She's making sure and grading everybody. So with that grade, she'll pass that to the maintenance officer, Mo, and then Mo will relay that to the pilot so they know exactly what they're doing and what they need to do to improve for the next hit.
That's, flying like this, you have to be pursuing perfection in every flight. And when having a tour as Commodore, the training wing, and sharing a hangar with the Blues, that is one thing that always impressed me too about the team was their diligence to just that. A brief for every flight, a debrief. And you think how easy it would be to kind of be like, we did this yesterday for practice, we're doing it again today, doesn't even have questions. But the fact that every flight goes back and has a thorough debrief, and then a brief before the flight as we're watching the Diamond Dirty loop. So here comes the Diamond with dirty configuration. Showing that power, flying the F-18E and F-18F Super Hornet version, each engine, they're a General Electric 414 turbofan, 22,000 pounds of thrust with afterburner out of each engine. So that's showing that in dirty configuration, 44,000 pounds combined thrust, getting those airplanes up and over the top. And here comes the lead solo from the left. You want to talk about some vitamin G, getting those G-forces on. This radius turn.
This one right here, they're pulling 7Gs constantly. It's amazing. As he's pulling Gs, he's still able to talk. Most people will probably pass out, be taking a nap right about now. But they are just such athletes for what they do. And he's going to come through and just give the beach a really good show about the power, the dynamic of what this aircraft can do.
For the Blue Angels, not much modification goes into those airplanes. Some, right, because they're doing a demo performance. But I know as advertisers always talk that those airplanes could be combat ready in a matter of hours a day, right? One of the mods is taking the gun out of the nose of the Super Hornet, and that's replaced to save weight and balance, add room for the liquids for the smoke canisters to do the smoke. Yep.
Tons of smoke oil that go into every jet.
Every jet, right? To do the smoke.
They take out the smoke system. They take out the gun and solid big smoke system. They do that at Boeing, Cecil Field. They do all the plumbing and make sure these jets will fly. They can fly inverted for an extra amount of time too.
Yep. And here comes the Diamond and the double Farvel, where the boss and the slot are inverted and 2 and 3 are right side up. So with the 3-plane today, we'll see the boss inverted and 2 and 3 right side up.
Got 7. 6 by 8. 8 years old.
Yeah, and that smoke is, just for everyone out there that's ever been interested, biodegradable, right? Food grade dye goes into it. So just to allow for people watching the show to see them. And here comes the opposing minimum radius turn by both solos out in front of the crowd.
That was a good pass right there. You see, always want to see when they go nose to nose, they cross. They're going to come back around and they're going to pass the crowd and minimum separated.
7 year up. 10 by 8. 8 year up. 10 by 6. 6 year up.
And the solos exit and setting up for the diamond to come in for the echelon parade. Again, going back and kind of wrapping up. Yet not much different between Blue Angels other than our mission set and fleet aircraft, right? And we talked about some of those. Another one that gets talked about quite often is the spring. And that's a spring that gets attached to the stick by the pilot, which puts on 40 pounds, right? 40 pounds of force.
We start out with 10 pounds for winter training, and we slowly build up. So 10, 20, 30, 40. 40 is the ultimate one where they've got that, where they can hold it in. They have the fulcrum is what they call it. So they have their knee right against their leg.
Yep.
That's why we don't fly with
combo is why no G suit, right?
Exactly. No G suits because you don't want the G suit.
You don't want the G suit inflating and moving your arm around when you're setting that point.
Yep.
And that spring, to put it into common terms for most of us, think of driving your car down the highway and you're kind of constantly moving the steering wheel and your car's moving a little bit because of that knoll and just where are the wheels. And a difference if you were driving up a rocky or sandy hill, but going uphill where your wheels are engaged and you can feel that resistance on your steering wheel and knowing right where the wheels are. Same type of thing of why to have that spring, right? And this diamond leaving us to the left and the solo setting up for the opposing horizontal rolls.
When we got the Super Hornet, we tried to see if we could modify the horizontal rolls and try to do it more like a box, but it just didn't work the way we wanted to do. So we kept some things. Some things stay the same, some things change.
Yeah, and the transition for the Blues to the Super Hornet still somewhat in infancy, right? This is the second team to fully have it for their whole team season based off the boss's tour, right? You worked on both.
We did.
You worked on Legacy Hornets.
I started out with Legacy, so we were here for the transition to the Super Hornet.
Yep.
In 2020.
And, for same thing, F-18, if people see an F-18 Legacy, which the Navy doesn't fly anymore, Marines still fly some, and a Super Hornet, you see it by itself, you'd be like, oh, a Hornet, or a Super Hornet, tough to tell. You get those two airplanes side by side, and you can really tell the increase in size of the Super Hornet. Different engine intakes and bigger engines, right?
Much louder. That was one of the things that we got the Super Hornet. We weren't allowed to say it was going to be much louder, but it actually was. Yeah, I'm okay. I can say that now.
Yep. Now we're setting up to see the changeover roll.
So this is one that we changed in our 2021 season. The changeover roll. Instead, it used to be an echelon roll, and we changed it. We actually stole this one from the Thunderbirds, and we it took us about 4 weeks, and we were flying it better than they were.
Yep. Right. There you go. And that leads into one of my favorite moments of a Blue Angel Air show, as you watch the Diamond finish their changeover roll to wake up Pensacola Beach.
10 by the left, 10 by the left.
I bet here comes Buddy. The awesome sneak pass, right? 5 and 6 coming in along the flight line show and over the top, and just making sure everybody remembers how fast that aircraft can go and how it can sneak up on you. It was always a tough battle for me if I took people to watch a practice on the flight line. If I would ask them, do you want to be surprised by the sneak pass, or do you want to see it coming? Because there's some value too to see that jet coming and watching how fast it goes. Because if it sneaks, it's stuck up on you and you didn't see it coming and it's gone already, right?
Exactly. This next maneuver coming up, the line abreast loop, this is probably the hardest maneuver that they're going to fly, just because they're going to be looking, they're straight across. So they're basing off everything off of boss. This is one because they have to be careful. They don't move too forward or too back. So they want to stay right in position. They're not too wide. But this is one that I know the pilots that they practice maneuver a lot to make sure that they're getting this thing right.
And the Super Hornet flew back in November '95 and entered the fleet, started coming in between 1999 and 2001 as a replacement for the F-14 Tomcat. A lot of times people think the Super Hornet replaced the Legacy Hornets, but in actuality, most of the Legacy Hornet squadrons were replaced by F-35, and the F-14 squadrons were replaced by Super Hornets with, a couple, asterisks here and there.
Yep.
But as a carrier's frontline fighter.
Next, you're going to see, let's get to hatch number 5, and they're going to come in. They're going to see another hit for the solos.
Yeah, and this is the opposing 4-point roll. Right, so they're going to snap it on a wingtip, inverted, other wingtip, and then back up to upright.
Yep. To get this plane back in position for 5, he's pulling a lot of G's into a lot of work because it's a quick turnaround from him separating from the diamond, getting right back into his solo to get their timing right. So he's working really hard and pulling a lot of G's up there. These next set maneuvers are my favorite for the diamond. When they come behind you and you see the precision of the formation when they'll go up and they'll come right past center point and go up and they'll spread out and they'll break out.
Yep, the diamond vertical break, right?
Yep. This is the one that caused the dramatic scene in the IMAX documentary when Jamami were out in El Centro winter training and he broke the wrong direction.
Ah, right.
But it's one of those things that we knew he was in a safe space, so we didn't say anything. You don't want to be, as you know, probably you don't want to be in the cockpit. That's not my responsibility.
But and again, you kind of mentioned the 80 years, and you think of people coming from the fleet, Navy and Marine Corps, trying out for the team, making the team, training to do a demonstration like this, and then a lot, going back to the fleet. But that the Blue Angels showing, hey, we're going to train. A mistake like that might happen. We learn from it. We become better. Right? We're not going to repeat it the next time. Makes the team better, and really why the Blue Angels are the epitome of, for 80 years showing that high standard of excellence, teamwork, and service. This is a solar vertical pitch right here. They'll cross, and then they'll come back, and another hit at center point. But you're right, it's a constant pursuit of excellence. It goes back to the debrief where everything we do, everything down to I left a zipper open, didn't have my pins in the right spot. That's the level of precision that we hold ourselves accountable to, because it's important, because it's the little things that can really build upon itself. Or Solo's coming out of the vertical pitch. And the next maneuver we're setting up for to see is the barrel break. This will be coming from in front of the crowd, and they'll be looking for comp card. They'll be shining a lamp or this lamp for Boston lineup, and they'll key off of that and they'll bring it in. Yeah, we can see the smoke there kind of right at the end of the pier. Here they come. Something special about Pensacola, home of the Blue Angels, and one of the treats of that is getting a beach air show in July and then the homecoming air show in November. As a team, it's something neat. You're all not traveling and with your families, right? But probably that unique bond that the Navy Marine Corps team has with Pensacola about being here, right? When you're here for the Pensacola Air Show. It's our hometown crowd. This is where we get all the support. You go around here, you can't throw a stone without seeing something Blue Angel. So it's great to see. It's great to perform in front of a hometown crowd and all the support, especially on days like this. You can't beat this weather. That's the reason why everyone wants to come here. Well, I think it's pretty neat, and again, a big pat on the back to Santa Rosa Island Authority, to the Visit Pensacola, local radio stations from 92.3 to Cat Country, to all the local business owners, especially those out here on the beach that annually host such a very special event, and all the planning and effort that goes in ahead of time to make this come off flawlessly year in, year out. It's pretty impressive, and it's neat to see. This is a great one right here. You just usually see one plane hiding behind the other, and a little tuck. Yep. Yep. Surprise, surprise. There's two airplanes there. When they do it right, it's really impressive. And you see only one plane all the way through. And depending on where you're sitting, you might only see one plane. And this next one's one of my favorites. The Diamond coming in from back over the crowd for the Diamond low break cross. There's something about this maneuver. Another little kind of surprise. Most people in the crowd don't know someone's coming from behind. In fact, we get the treat of looking out here and watching heads. Yep. And I love it. Taking a peek. There they are. Here they come. Line up and then they'll break. There's another one. They used to rejoin behind the crowd once they did everything. And then Rocket, he was a 2 that year. He wanted to try to bring it into the front. So now when they rendezvous, they'll do everything in front of the crowd. Take it off. And as they break, one of our jobs at CompCard is to provide safety, ground safety. So we're watching to make sure their wings are level. And we always have we have a talk back and forth just internally with us. So I watch 3 and 4, and Doc will watch 1 and 2. So I'll just say 3 and 4, okay. She'll say 1 and 2, okay. And we'll always make sure keep an eye on them as they cross, and then they come back to rejoin. We'll give them the grades to see where they stack up for each other when they cross here at center point here in just a couple seconds. Yeah, that's you get the Thunderbirds, Blue Angels, Blue Angels, and Brian's, explaining there the communications cart. The Blues actually own the demonstration box while they're flying in it. So their team is one on the radios talking to the airplanes, telling them they're cleared in, what they're cleared for. And like he said, You have officers that are assigned to watch each airplane or each section of airplanes to make sure they're in the PC sky they're supposed to be, that they're cleared.
That's such a great regional, and I love seeing that formation come together. It doesn't matter. It could be 2 jets, 3 jets, 4 jets. It's impressive.
And here comes the high alpha pass. We talked about this earlier. Slow flight, fly-by-wire aircraft. Pilots setting an angle attack. Angle attack is an airplane is, and the relative wind that's coming and hitting the wings. But a very high, so nose-up attitude allows the airplane to slow fly. The pilot just has a control set, and we'll see how tight of a shot we can get. But those watching, just looking at those control surfaces moving, because the airplane's saying the pilot wants this to happen, so I need to do this aerodynamically to keep the airplane in the sky.
And that's the last solo maneuver that you'll see. Next thing is coming in for the Burner 270.
Yep, Burner 270. So on the left, we'll see the Diamond come in. Like Brian said, now the solos are kind of done being solos, and they'll join up with the Diamond after the Diamond 370 or 270, sorry, and then form the Delta. So all the aircraft together.
If you ask the solos, they'll deny it to their very dying day. They refuse to say they're part of the Diamond or the Delta. There'll be solos 100%.
Yeah.
But this one right here, you can just hear and feel the sound of these engines that you're talking about.
And yeah, 80 years of the Blues. So as our Navy flight demonstration team, first demonstration was back in June of 1946 over Jacksonville, Florida, of 4 Grumman Hellcats, right?
Yes, sir.
And flown everything: Hellcats, Bearcats, Panthers, Cougars, Tigers, Phantoms, A4s, Legacy Hornet, and now Super Hornet. Neat story a lot of people don't know. The Korean War temporarily disbanded, put on pause, and actually turned into a fighter squadron, right? Went and flew combat.
That's the solos reminding everybody that you're still here to play.
We're important too, right?
Now they're going to form up, and now they're going to the Delta. So now they're getting to the Delta movers. The aircraft are going to work together.
Yep. Kind of neat. It was almost like design back there in 1946 that they said, you know what, if we started flight demonstration team now for the Navy, conveniently its 80th anniversary will be our nation's 250th anniversary.
Exactly.
So
well that way.
So they're setting up here now for the Deltas join. So 5 planes together for the Delta roll. And a lot of birthdays from them flying out of NAS Pensacola. NAS Pensacola, established in 1914, so it just had a nice birthday.
It's always nice to come home to Pensacola, especially. It's a great base. We started out originally in Jacksonville. That's where they first were, and actually did a little stint in Corpus Christi at the very, very beginning. But now this has been our home for this and El Centro, our home away from home.
Here's the Delta roll.
Might be wondering why the smoke keeps coming on and off. this is a practice, like Seven said in their narrator. So on practice shows, this is the way for them to let them know that they're out of position. And they look to the average person, you won't even see it, even to a trained performer. But that's the way for them being up in the air to signal, hey, I'm a little bit forward, a little bit ahead of everybody, a little bit behind everybody. So this is my way of keeping myself honest. So that way, when they go back and do the debriefs, they can look to see and key in on those details.
Yep, they're setting up to come from the left after the Delta roll for the Fleur de Lis. And I know some people are watching, but one of the other neat things about being based at NAS Pensacola is right there, essentially home station along with the National Naval Aviation Museum. So I know we believe we're being shown there on the live screen there so people can enjoy the show, but a great partnership too with the museum and highlight that select days of the week, Tuesday, Wednesdays, when the Blue Angels practice at NAS Pensacola. You can go view that practice from the flight line of the National Naval Aviation Museum.
That museum is so impressive. What they've got, the collection of the aircraft and the history there. And I could get lost in there for 2 days and be perfectly happy. It is an aviation lover's dream to be able to go there.
Yeah, some of us have flown in the Navy, call it the Cathedral of Naval Aviation, right?
Absolutely. So they're setting up for the Fleur de Lis.
Number 8. 8 is up. And by Clean with your 8. The breakout. Out. And by 6.
The position that it takes, especially 4 and 3 right now, they're fighting to get back into position. So when they break apart, their goal is to always, as they're coming over the top, they want to be back together in their diamond formation so they can come back down in that signature pattern. And the solos will come back to join them once they get done to rendezvous to back up to form up the delta again.
Yeah, and there come the solos. If the cameras catch them, solos coming in from the left to go, like Brian said, meet up as they're going to set up for the loop break, 6-plane cross. This was pretty neat when they come in and do this and all the airplanes separate and then they fly out. You know, talk about they said there'd be no math, right? All the pilots heading out. So all the airplanes going out to their point to do a turn back in. So on the way out and then the way back in, the boss calling out his distance from center point and each pilot looking at their distance and matching. So if the boss says, I'm 2 miles and I'm at 2.1 miles and I'm in the 4-jet, I know, I'm a little ahead. So I need to pull the speed back, get back on time with the boss, calls 2.5, 3 miles, I'm back on, I reset the speed or the way back in. Because again, something that gets glanced over in its simplicity, but having all the airplanes go out and then come back and meet the goal, meeting all airplanes right back here at center point coming from different directions. So we can all grade them on how they do today, right?
Exactly. And then you throw in also the factor that one of them might be looking into the sun when they're coming back in. So that's hard to pick up. So this is one where trust is a huge one on this maneuver because you have to make sure and trust that everyone's going to be in their position at their altitude that they said they're going to be at.
Yep.
So they'll come over the top and he'll just call ready to break. And they'll split all 5 aircraft.
Same with the good stop. From your plane, 8.
I'm glad we were able to get a high show in today. It's always always the show that you always want to fly, especially for a hometown crowd, because it gets to show off the whole capability of the aircraft. And it's a great show. It's 45 minutes long of just American power. It's so much fun to watch.
I love it. Yeah, as they head out and then head back in, being a lot of people they might live this close to Pensacola, and Pensacola, the city and Naval Air Station Pensacola is such a great partnership, but known as the cradle of naval aviation. A lot of times that can be attributed to just the Blues, just the aviators. But when you think NAS Pensacola is a training base, a whole, the enlisted training, anyone enlisted going to work on aircraft in the Navy and the Marine Corps gets trained here, 60,000-ish graduates annually from Pensacola out to the Navy and the Marine Corps to go be in the active duty squadrons.
That's how I got my start over here at A School back in 1999.
Yep.
I remember that. And it was the first time I ever seen the Blue Angels fly over. And that was definitely one of the things that impressed me. And that's what inspired me, one, to go in aviation, but be a Blue Angel as well. That was a great cross right there.
I'd say that was a pretty good meet.
I'll take that one.
They'll go off and rejoin, and they're setting up for the Delta breakout. So they'll be coming right at us, straight at the crowd, and then they'll do a Delta, so the Delta will break out and split, and then rejoin. And being again not an on-station show, after that they'll rejoin for just a Delta flat pass, right? So they'll just kind of do a pass over the show center and then depart back to NAS Pensacola to land.
What'll seem, that's usually what everyone gets to see on Sunday nights when the Blues come home, is they'll Delta pass right over the beach.
So as they set up and knowing they'll be doing that and exiting, and we got for a minute, just like to thank everyone here in Pensacola, Naval Aviation Museum, and we even had some people in Germany. That was the farthest one I saw out, but around the world, around the country, for tuning in to see a day long of aviation, but celebrating naval aviation, the Navy and the Marine Corps team here with the Blue Angels, all the events we saw earlier, and Hellcat Productions being able to put this on annually. And yes, we're going to diligently keep working to get the sound thing worked out so we can hear some of this jet noise more readily as the show goes on. And Brian, I'd like to thank you for joining. This has been a lot of fun today.
I've had a blast.
Going back and forth and educating me and the crowd on different things, aspects of the Blue Angels and your career. It's been special.
It's great. Everyone sees the 6 jets in the air, but what goes behind the scenes, the maintenance department and everybody getting the planes ready to go for that day without flight, it's impressive what they do. So there's their final maneuver.
Break out, fan out. Keep that light on. Thank you, eh? That right, please. Even better. Follow me.
Nice shot of the iconic Pensacola beach ball. That's when you know you're home. Is when you get to see that beach ball. I think Casino Beach parking lot filled up at what they said. I think 4.
I heard on the radio they said at 5:15 the parking lot was closed.
I think tomorrow's going to be even earlier. Yeah, even more are going to leave.
People are just, yeah, they get here, stay overnight, maybe camp out, sleep on the beach, right?
Yeah. We got one more maneuver, then they're going to head back to Pensacola, which is just literally right down the road. You can see it from some places here in Pensacola Beach too.
As people are exiting, and or if you come out tomorrow and you see, make sure you take a moment and thank all the first responders, from the sheriffs to the lifeguards, EMTs that are here helping people. And again, if you are coming out tomorrow to watch the show. Bring water, bring some sunscreen. It's comfortable under the pavilion shade, but it's hot out there in the sun, and just come and be prepared.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing your United States the 2026 Blue Angels.
It's great to hear that they kept some of the iconic songs.
That's right.
And, every year, each team gets to pick their own songs, what they want for each maneuver. But some of the ones, like "Kickstart My Heart," that one's always got to stay. And of course, the Top Gun theme song to exit out.
Well, I was neighbors with Boss Doyle, Popeye Doyle, and his team that year. How nice was it to have Diamonds in the Sky? Really, right? Yeah. There they go. Your 2026 Blue Angels. Happy 80th anniversary to the team, to the Navy and the Marine Corps. Continuing that tradition of showing our excellence in the air and our professionalism and our dedication to duty. So from Hellcat, we're going to be signing off here relatively quickly. So you all, everyone enjoy. Again, thanks for dialing in and watching the show. Brian, awesome work. It's been a blast.
Thanks for having me out here. Everyone, and please dial in next week, or tomorrow.